Episode 3 of Abrea Before the Campaign, our companion show to the campaign. I should actually probably load the template correctly this time. Hi, everyone! That was a false start. Welcome to Episode 3 of Abrea Before the Campaign, our companion show to the campaign. If you heard the audio over our new graphic, thanks for listening to that twice. I am John. I'm just a player in this fabulous game from our DM Rich. Before I hand it over to him, though, I just wanted to say, if you want to see all of our content from the very beginning, Twitch doesn't allow us to have full archives yet or now. So head on over to YouTube. You'll find the button to go over there in the channel feed below this video. You can also follow us on Twitter through that. Basically, all of our links and stuff is down there. And yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's just get the show started. Rich, take it away.
Whoa, he's jumping right in
Yes.
into the deep end. It's in keeping with our new naval theme, our aquatic theme. How is everybody this week? How are you guys?
Good.
Awesome.
Great.
Excellent. We are sadly down one Dragonborn this week. Curt Clark, we wish you well in Boston. Say hello to all of our friends up there. He will be missed, but not that much. The show must go on. So let's go around and say hello to everybody. Alan Ward, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing good. How's it been? I think I should have a schedule in the next couple of days for my streaming.
That's
it looks
exciting.
like I'm gonna have the same couple of days off, and so we're gonna get it going.
Excellent. Alan streams on Twitch over at CPT_emo. Is that right, Captain Emo?
That would be the one. Yep.
Excellent. And so keep your eyes over there. Go throw him a follow because he'll pop up once in a while, and that's a fun night when he does. Alex
Always
Donsky,
some goof.
how are you, man?
Hey, what's up? Chilling. Good. Ready to sail the high seas? Yeah, something like that.
Excellent.
Been yeah, I don't know, man. Just been playing a lot of games. Gonna do the mage thing soon. I'm super psyched about that. I had a really good time putting our characters together.
Oh, yeah. We put Alex through the ringer this weekend, making some Mage the Ascension characters. We'll leave that as a little tease. We'll see how that evolves out. Gabe, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So great, in fact, it's part of my distraction as I'm here. So I was coming in a little late, as you guys know, but I've been kept really occupied working the new gig. It's great to be a part of, the magic that is like creating games and getting games out to the people, making those connections, and being able to play a small part in that is fantastic. So really loving the new gig that I've got going, and happy. So I could use a little time, like maybe we can do a little sailing. Maybe there could be some mojitos. Maybe we
Excellent.
can, like, chill.
Yeah. Tone it
You guys
down
are
a
gonna
little
have
bit.
to find
I
some
don't think we're getting any mojitos.
some limes, but yeah, we'll see what we could do about facilitating mojitos. We certainly can start with the sailing, at least. And so, of course, last but not least, John Reed. What's up, man? How are you?
What's up? Good. Yeah, like Alex teased, we're gearing up to launch a new show in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be playing some magical things, and that is really exciting. And also, I'm back in LA, so it's like balls. It was snowing a few days ago in Tahoe, and now it's like 85 degrees in LA. So I've gone from the extremes, but I'm back home in the studio with my fancy comic books, and I'm ready to, turn into some animals and fuck shit up.
Excellent. He's back in his safe space. We're going to try to make it very dangerous for him. Sounds good. And so, yeah, like I said earlier, we're down Curt tonight. Gheddar, the Bronze Tidewalker, will be around, but not as active as he had been. So you were missed out there, Curt. Cool. So do you guys have any questions? Is there anything we should touch on or review before we dive in?
So we all just got like leveled up to 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
happened.
how I remember it, right? Yeah, that happened. Cool.
Those magic items, we kind of talked about it. We divvied them out. Does everyone have your magic item that we discussed? I don't think I took anything because it's all useless.
Yeah, I think I got the sword of all killing. That thing is going to come in super handy.
I've got the ball of win the game.
Yeah.
Don't drop the ball. You'll lose the game. Yeah, I believe the items were spread out. As I recall, Gimble the gnome took the Dragon Fang amulet off of Frostblood. Gheddar, the Bronze Tidewalker, took the cloak that was pulled off the priestess, and one Berriluss Cosmis raiding the secret supplies of Frostblood below deck got his hands on some type of crystal spheroid. I wonder what that does. And those are the major items, as I recall, divvied up and distributed adequately.
Cool.
Excellent. Cool. But thank you for this note of bookkeeping from the Burly Paladin. I like it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Because I went to my items list and all I have is a list of everything in Havoc's backpack. So that's from the first episode. So all I have is like what I'm planning to steal from him later today.
It's amazing the amount of things volumetrically he was able to carry as a mouse.
Yes.
But impressive nonetheless. Cool. So I suppose with that we ought to throw ourselves right into the fray, shall we? So,
yes.
As things stood, you all had found one another, or perhaps Berriluss Cosmis just found all of you where you sat on the Cold Star Coast, and having seen a vision of things yet to pass, Berriluss kind of gathered all of you together at Betty's. And so you guys had begun your short plan, which was to overthrow Captain Frostblood, the White Dragon-born barbarian, captain of the Widowmaker, scourge of the Cold Star Coast. And while you guys had discussed many plans, you did not entirely settle on any of them, but you did infiltrate the ship, posing as new recruits looking to crew up with old Frostblood and begin your career of reaving the seas up in the northern reaches of Abrea. In the midst of your interview, shall we say, you guys flipped the script and popped off, and battle ensued. Many pirates died on that terrible day. One wizard was dunked again and again into the cold drink that is the Cold Star Bay, and he abandoned all hope and just rejected these people wholeheartedly as he flew back towards town, completely abandoning Frostblood and his hopes of working on this ship someday. But the rest of you fighting together in concert, animating the very chains of the ship itself, the anchor writhing across the deck like some great constructed snake of iron and steel, battering the captain apart. You defeated a flesh golem, quite a strange and cryptic type of creature, but the mighty blows from half-giant Valerian cut it clean in two, dropping its torso into the ocean as Gimble conjured the wind, gathering control of it and pushing the ship out of the bay. And so in those early moments, after the deck had been cleared, some of the pirates surrendered themselves to you. There was one of Frostblood's personal guard, a hefty, hulking man named Frederick, who had fought viciously below deck against the Dragonborn and been shown mercy when he lay near an inch of his life. So Frederick and another fellow named Suka, who had surrendered to all of you up on the deck, and Gimble appointed as the new helmsman, had put in charge of steering the ship while you guys began the process of figuring out how the hell do we even sail a ship. Other than Berriluss and Havoc, most of you have very little experience on the deck of a ship before, but fortunately for you, Berriluss and Havoc have a great deal of experience. And between them and these three crewmen who surrendered themselves, the process of getting underway in a voyage on a ship this size was, while not efficient, at least managed in some part. And so those initial hours after the battle, you guys fought Frostblood under the morning sun, and the ship had took off heading southwest along the coastline, powered by the wind that Gimble controlled. And all of you kind of went down below deck to eat. Gheddar filling himself fuller than he ever should have with carbohydrates and meat from the land, beef, as is his wont. And so with Suka at the wheel up on deck and Frederick drunkenly nursing his injuries in the captain's quarters, the rest of you kind of broke apart, being directed by Berriluss and by Havoc as to the things that needed to be taken care of. Much of the ropes attached to the rigging up on the deck had been chewed through by vermin. It appears that the mouse problem on the ship. And so a great deal of that needed to be repaired and dealt with, and that took up a good deal of time with you, Berriluss, and Gimble working alongside the third crewman whose name, it turns out, is Bones. And so the three of you guys fixed many of the ropes that were inside. Havoc, you were able to work with Suka up near the wheel, repairing some of the damage that had occurred there. Frostblood throwing knives into the rigging, breaking certain lines and ropes. The respooling of the anchor chain onto its wheel was quite an operation, which was much more involved than it normally because of the fact that the chain had writhed itself across the deck and had all manner of body parts and blood within it. And Gheddar took upon himself the job of taking inventory of the food supplies. After bloating himself on carbohydrates, he wanted to ensure that there would be enough left for your long voyage. And so after those initial few hours that you guys are kind of making your way out of the bay, the city having fallen behind you in the rear view, so to speak, the sound of the waves crashing on the hull of the ship, the calls of the gulls that circle above, alighting on the masts and the rigging, the only sounds of this wild open space, and the creaking and groaning of rope and wood as it strains against the wind and into the ocean, sailing away. And so it's in the midst of this. It's been a few hours, and you guys find yourself weary at the end of the day. This was a hard-fought day. This might well have been the toughest battle that any of you had faced prior to this. You killed well over a dozen pirates, the Golem, Frostblood, his first mate, a priestess of Enid Wraith, and the work of putting this ship to sail and repairing all the damage that was caused during the fight was quite thorough. So as the evening begins to set in, you guys find yourselves regrouping down below deck in the captain's quarters, and you hear loudly the snores of one bronze dragonborn as Gheddar sleeps heavily in the hammock out in the open hold of the ship while you all gather.
Should we wake him up, or should we maybe have a little talk about what we're doing next, guys?
Yeah, just let him sleep.
One of the crewmen there, Frederick, Frostblood's personal guard, the guy who'd been beaten badly and was drinking heavily, he's kind of half passed out in this room as you guys are gathering to talk, and he kind of moves a little bit like, the Dragonborn there, he told me to tell you, we're out of food. Gonna need to take port in the next few days unless you can conjure it out of thin air, and you all probably can.
I summon good berries. And I'm like, who wants a good berry? You guys, do you want one?
Enough of those for us to actually make port with, though, I think is the question, eh?
It depends on how much I can sleep in that time. I mean, like, you know, I can make a lot of good berries.
Maybe this is good plan. Maybe Dragonborn is on a good trip. You know, it's better for waves to be lulling you to sleep rather than lulling you to puking. So it's probably good we leave him and maybe join in sleeping at some point ourselves.
Yes, I'm very tired. I killed a lot of people.
And not a lot of sandwiches.
So there's how do we know how many beds there are on this? We've probably seen the amount of beds, right, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, there's one bed in the captain's room, and then there's another room that's sort of like the galley with the small, like desk area for the captain right off his chamber. And then there's the actual main hold of the ship, which holds a whole series of hammocks. And that, as Berriluss could tell you in great detail, is where pretty much all the crew slept.
So, I don't need a whole bed. I'm a little, you guys are bigger than I am. I can just sleep,
I don't want to share a bed, Gimble.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll just sleep on the desk then.
All right.
All right, I guess I'll find the biggest, most luxurious hammock, and I'll claim that one.
Excellent.
I'm going to go sleep in the captain's quarters.
As you guys make your way out and are taking in the many hammocks and like eyeballing where you're going to go, and Valerian, you find one. Havoc, you find like a nice, large, luxurious one. You think to yourself as you're situating yourself in it, oh, I bet this belonged to that priestess. It's a shame she had to die. I had high hopes for her. Oh well. And Valerian, you situate yourself down into yours, and you hear like the kind of hooks against the side of the ship creaking, like as you test its weight. And sure enough, it does hold you.
So, I said I wanted to sleep on the desk, but actually, what I'm going to do is go. Is there like a lifeboat or anything up on the deck that I could like curl up in out under the stars?
I mean, there's certainly plenty of room up on the deck. Yeah, the boats, ironically, are actually down here. They were pulled down in to help like make room to move all the cargo. But there's plenty of room up on deck. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I want to find a little nook up there and hear the waves and look at the stars.
Excellent. So you make your way up to the surface, and you catch sight of Suka, who's like loyally standing out in front of the wheel, who like salutes you like as you come out onto the deck and find your place.
I'll salute him, and then I'll just toss him my last 3 good berries.
Oh yeah,
hey, buddy.
I mean, he's able to catch probably 2 out of 3 of them, and then he goes like stumbling after the last as it rolls across deck, like, "Oh, you're not getting away from me!" Snatching it up, eating them. Like, these really are delicious. You kind of hear him saying to himself as you situate yourself. And Berriluss, you head into the captain's chambers. Yours at long last. The appointments in the captain's chambers are quite luxurious, with silken sheets and goose down pillows and comforters and whatnot. It is a sight better than the hammocks that you've slept on in this ship for all these years. And so with that, you guys slip into rest. And sleep takes over you. The sounds of the waves and the gulls having died out as night falls, but the creaking of the wood and the ropes, the sounds of the waves consistently breaking on the front, the pulling and straining of the sails up above you as you go. And so Berriluss, you're exhausted, and as sleep rolls onto you, your dreams come again, and you see a vision. You see sea lions on a dock and a cliff with a large stone staircase circling it up, and then a shadow in the sky which blots out all the light. And you look around, and your new friends are beside you, and then you look up to see what casts this terrible shadow, and it is just blackness, never ending. And it slides, this vision, from the darkness. You kind of are enveloped by it and move through it, and suddenly you have another vision. The ocean waves breaking. You see the deck of the Widowmaker. You'd recognize it anywhere. And on it, Gimble, sleeping. The waves crashing, spray dancing up over the side of the ship, and then the sound of one lone owl hoots. And you see this owl circling with the stars above it as a backdrop, and it's clearly circling over above this ship. And to that note, Gimble, as you sleep on the deck of the ship itself, your ears perk up and you're drawn from your slumber. You clearly have not slept through the whole night yet. You realize that as soon as your eyes open. You're not well rested. The night is still dark, but you hear a shrieking sound, a hoot, perhaps, of an owl in the wind above you. And your eyes kind of squint and you crane looking, and suddenly there you see it, a shadow of the size that you'd expect, circling high above the ship, watching you. And as you kind of like move and your eyes connect with it, your body churning a little bit so you could follow it as it trails behind you, it begins to descend. And it descends all the way down, flying down, dipping and zipping through the rigging of the ship and landing on the edge, clinging to the side of the railing along the edge of the ship, just 6 or 8 feet from you. And it sits like tilting its head. Whoo, whoo.
So I'll rub my eyes and look up, and I'll go over to it, and I don't. If I turn into an animal, can I understand that animal? I don't think so, right?
Nope.
I'll say, hey, little owl, how's it going?
It like hoots at you once, and then it kind of like hops down onto the actual deck of the ship itself, and it puts its wings out and sort of fluffs up its feathers a little bit, and you could see like dampness, water kind of shaking off of it as it shakes out its wings for a moment, right? And then it begins to shift in front of you and change its form, kind of bulging and growing and getting taller. And this is a very reminiscent scene for you, one that you usually participate in rather than watching. But suddenly this owl forms up, growing 5, then almost 6 feet tall. And where it stood a moment before you now stands a half-elven man with like kind of like a heavy brown beard on his face, tight. It's damp with the moisture of the sea around him, his hair wet and kind of plastered to his head. And he wears very kind of simple brown clothes. You could see he has a sealskin cloak on, and there's a sword at his belt, a curving sword, a scimitar. And he speaks out to you in this strange broken language that the others would not recognize were they here. The druidic language, the secret language that you were taught when you took up the mantle of a druid of Abrea. And he says, are you the one called Gimble Stonecloak?
Yeah, that's me. Who are you?
Said, fortune favors me indeed. He says, my name is Sendak. I am a half-elf of the Bree people.
So how did you know to find me here? I mean, yesterday I didn't even know I'd be on this boat. This is crazy.
I sent a message of help and aid, an animal messenger, to the Cold Star Circle. My people are under siege, and as we speak, he like glances over his shoulder away from you to the southwest, and then like looking back, catching your eyes. He says they face a terrible threat that has come up from the sea, and I sent an animal messenger to the Cold Star Circle seeking aid. They told me that you were the closest, that you would be able to get to me sooner than any of them, and I should seek you out.
So
how I found you here is an altogether different story.
You said there's an attack happening right now?
He nods. He says, you know of the Bree people. The Bree, for reference, all of you would have heard of them before. The Bree are the nomadic, like tribal people of Abrea. They refer to themselves as the Bree. They're interesting in that they're not racially homogenous. They're tribal, mostly nomadic, though some of them take up like small settlements that are kind of stationary. But they're generally tribes of cast-offs, of runaways, of refugees, of those who flee the dynasties and seek to hide from them, of those who leave the citadels for whatever reason and are lost, never to return. And so the Bree, it's a term that many people in the wildlands of Abrea use to describe themselves as like the people, right? And so he says to you, he says, yes. He says, my tribe, we are called the White Bear Tribe, one of the locals in the area. He says, we have been besieged for a matter of months. We're fighting a losing battle, though my chieftain would not say as much, against the Quatoa. They are a type of fish people, of the ocean. He says, and they have begun sieging our camp some months past. He says, but we have been hard pressed. We make all of our food, and our entire economy is based on trade with the local communities. He says, and we have been hard pressed even to hold our own ground against these armies from the sea. He says, so we sent out one party, some of our strongest warriors, to take skins and meat on a nearby seal island. He says, and I was leading this group amongst them when a terrible many-headed monster came up out of the ocean. He says, we were spearing sea lions down on the rocks. We were taking in our haul, the men skinning and butchering up at the camp behind us when it emerged. He says it has 5 heads, and it is massive, probably a quarter of the size of this ship as you sail it. He says, but as I speak to you now, Gimble, Stonecloak, my men fight and die on the coast against it, not 20 miles from here. Can you help us? Will you?
Yeah, if we can. How far is this?
He says, my flight made it much quicker than it would be otherwise, but perhaps 10, 12 miles down the coast.
Do I know how long that would take us to get there?
So the ship, it'll probably take almost like an hour. You don't have a great gauge, but I mean, he tells you, like, he says if we were to stay on ship, he says you could turn us and take us there within before the dawn. We could arrive.
Okay. So I've got some buddies. They're all asleep downstairs, but they might be some help in fighting this giant, many-headed sea monster. I've never fought one before myself, so I don't know how much help I'll be. But we've got this huge dude with a sword, and this like shady guy with lots of voices, and some guy who can see the future. So like they might be able to help. And we've got this like huge dragon dude. He could be helpful too, but he's been sleeping a lot, so I don't know if he'll be able to help too much. But so you say a couple hours. I'll call over to Suka, right? He's manning the yeah. Suka, which direction should I tell my my pilot to take us? Pilot, I think, is the
He calls over to him. Yeah, he calls over to him and he says, follow the coast. He says, pull in tight and get your sails as tight as they can. Push this boat as hard as it will go. But if we follow the coast, we will find them soon.
There'll be some good berries in it for you if you do. They worked for the guy we just killed, so I like to bribe them whenever I can. I whisper to Sendak.
He says, indeed, the guy you just killed was not a very good guy at all, Gimble Stonecloak.
He seemed really mean, and he tried to kill me and my friends, so, you know, he got what was coming to him. So if you want to, like, sleep until we get there, there's some hammocks downstairs. I'm just going to chill up here until we get there, and then we'll wake up my friends when we're about 10 minutes away. They may say no to this, so I want to give them as little time as possible to get upset that I took us off course.
he kind of like tilts his head at you like, well, if they're half as formidable as you suggest and you can trick them into saving my people, then that's fine by me. They don't need to volunteer for this job as long as they can do it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I know Havoc's gonna want money, and Valerian's gonna want, I don't know, food or women or something. I don't know. But Berriluss, he's a cool guy. We did him a favor. He should help out no matter what.
If you say so. He nods his head.
Anyway, Havoc's downstairs.
He says, I will stay up here with your pilot and ensure that we hold course. I'll keep my eyes on the horizon and inform you if we get too close, if I see anything. Is that common
practice? Is that something I should have been doing this whole time?
I don't...
I'm new to boats.
I mean, generally, yes, you want somebody to make sure that the guy who's steering from the very back does not run into a massive rock and sink you all. Yes.
Good note. Good note. Okay.
Yes.
Next time.
And with that, he like kind of heads towards the prow of the ship. So that said, you guys can finish out your night of resting, gather up your hit points, regain lost spells.
Yes.
Oh, I need to figure out what I'm gonna memorize.
You could take a moment and figure out your memorizations and whatnot.
We're gonna be fighting potentially a giant sea monster
Or a giant black shadow.
or a giant black shadow.
Yeah. You got to be afraid of the shadows. You know, you never know. It's what you don't see that's the problem.
The shadows in the sky.
Thanks for making it freaky, man.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's what he's here for.
Ratchet that tension up. Yep.
Okay.
All right. We wake up.
Rich.
Yes.
I may, going into the battle, want to spend some time conjuring an elemental. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on tokens and things like that. That may be a thing that happens. Water.
They're all ready to go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. So as you guys are sailing, Gimble, you are like up on the deck still. You're waiting up on top of the deck, you said, right?
Yeah, I'm up there.
Okay, so as you were kind of like focusing in on your spells and selecting what you're going to be using for the day, after about an hour or so, you can see that Sendak is up on the actual like prow of the ship looking out, and he calls like, "We're close now. We're closing in," and you hear ka-dunk, like something like wooden hitting the wooden prow of the ship. And Suka calls from like the back at the wheel, like, "What the hell was that?" And Sendak, the druid, the half-elf, just like yells back to him. He says, "The beast has ripped our ship loose from the moorings. There's debris all in the water. Our supplies." He says, "Nothing to fear for. There, look." And so Gimble, like peeking up over the kind of edge of the ship, you can see out distant, not quite right close to the ship yet, a few hundred yards perhaps away, the light of what looks like flickering fires on this small like patch of island. Really, it's not much more than like a sea lion nesting rock kind of a deal just off the coast, right? And you could see the dancing kind of bonfires there, and tiny shadowy forms of what are probably like people moving around that as you approach.
Okay, I'm going to run quickly downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And who do I come to first?
As you come running downstairs, the stairs lead down into the open hold, and so Valerian and Havoc are like sleeping on these hammocks in the big open hold.
I go to Valerian and I poke him like gently and then harder.
I didn't
and harder
know
and
you
harder.
wild shaped into a dog before you went down there. Okay, so Valerian.
What? Good morning, Gimble.
Hey, grab your sword. We're fighting a monster. And then I'll go to Havoc. Poke, 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 poke.
What's where are the
Hey, grab your crossbow. We're fighting a monster. And then I'll run over to Berriluss. Open the door. into
I'm
the
like already
captain's room.
halfway up.
Hey, man. This dude came in the middle of the night and told us that there's this monster attacking his people. So I made a little detour and now we're almost there. So we got to go fight a monster. And then I'll run back upstairs.
Did he say there was some kind of big, like, what, breakfast sandwich?
I heard monster mash.
Oh, is that the kind of soup you people enjoy?
It's
or-
like potatoes.
Yeah, it sounds good. All right. Maybe
It's like potatoes.
some hot sauce or something.
I think he said there's a monster to kill. Meaning, these may be the best 2 days of my entire life.
Is that like a euphemism for barbecue, or what is happening?
The guy Bones, one of the other guys who surrendered to you, wakes up in the hammock, and he's just kind of rocking in the hammock, his eyes open, watching you, and he's like, "I don't have to fight the monster, do I, sirs?"
No,
of course you do.
I mean, you're gonna want somebody here to watch the ship, though, aren't you? I mean, I don't know.
If there's a hole down here, you better be able to fix it. That's all I need to know.
Oh yeah, I could definitely do that. You're gonna need me to fix those holes. I'm the best carpenter on this ship. Yep.
Depending on what kind of euphemism this is for breakfast, maybe you make us a nice hollandaise sauce, eh?
Gheddar, at this point, having woken himself up, like, I've heard of hollandaise sauce. That sounds excellent. So,
can you put it on a sandwich?
I think that's exactly what it's for, he says. The guy in the hammock, Bones, is like, that is exactly what it's for. Yes. I'll figure that out while you guys are fighting that monster, and I'll be right here when you're done.
Excellent plan. I love this plan so much.
So, you guys are like all below decks in the hole. What's the plan here? What are we doing?
I gotta take 12 seconds and collect my thoughts about my dreams for my portent. Gotta roll myself some 2d20s.
Excellent. Alan, as the diviner, rolling his d20s for his portent. 11 and 3.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I like it.
Oh, serious. The 3's great, man.
They're both relatively useful.
11
cool.
is medium. It's medium useful.
Relative, yeah.
I have strapped on my weapons belt and prepare crossbow head to deck of ship.
Okay. And so Havoc, strapping on his weapons belt, makes his way up, and I presume the rest of you guys will follow in kind. Gheddar even making his way up with you. Now, as you guys come to the top of the ship, it's kind of like the early hours just before the dawn. The moon hangs like halfway full, reflecting off of the sea around you. It's a clear night, the stars bright in the sky, so it's relatively well illuminated for the darkness, and there's just the tiniest twinge of pink on the horizon as the sun begins to crest the sky. But at quick glance off the ship, you can see now that you guys are coming even with this like island, right? Suka at the wheel, and there's this strange bearded half-elven man with this sealskin cloak and these kind of brown leathers standing up at the prow of the ship. As you guys come up, you recognize immediately that this is a new player in the game, but your eyes are drawn to the flickering lights from the small dying kind of bonfire off this island a few hundred feet off of the right side of the ship, which I should know what that is. What is that, port? It's the port side. Anyway, I'll figure that out by next week,
right,
I promise.
Port, starboard is left.
Yeah, see, I got it. Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean,
So the port side. Yeah, really. Stay in character. So off the port side of the ship, you guys can see this island, and now you hear like shouts and cries over the sound of the waves crashing on the ship itself. And you could see this sort of enormous silhouette fighting just next to the fire. There are people, men, women, half-elves, humans fighting madly with spears as this enormous reptilian body looms in the dim light on this island standing up above you. And you can see writhing these like almost tentacles coming off of its head. And then suddenly, as it moves a certain way, you guys can all like catch the silhouette, and you recognize this enormous reptilian beast is a hydra, and it has 5 heads, and you could see its long 5 sinuous serpentine necks twining and twisting as heads raise and shoot down like snakes, and you see one body lifted up by one of the mouths of this many-headed beast and kind of cast over it as their torso literally like rips into pieces and flies these separate pieces in the air over their head, crashing. And with that, I will bring us onto the map.
It's gonna look over and be like, how many swings do you think it will take me to take down the thing down?
If you swing real hard at the neck, I think you can get it at 5.
That's the goal.
Also on fire, it might be end of beast. I don't know a lot, but I think fire is going to factor in.
So, while they're talking, I'm going to grab some like salt water in my hand and pull like a little straw out of my pocket and start ritual casting magic at it so that I can cast water breathing on all of us.
You're gonna ritual cast it. Okay, that
Yeah.
takes 10 minutes. Okay,
Yep.
so okay, you begin the ritual casting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. What's up with the rest of you guys? Sendak at this point, you guys see the half elf, like he like points and he looks back at all of you like, there it is. He says, will you stand with me, men? The good Gimble Stonecloak says that you are heroes, noblemen, and people who honor the ways of the Bree tribes. Will you stand with me and kill this beast? Will you protect these innocent fisher people from this monstrosity which has climbed from the ocean?
Whoa, dude. Yeah, 10 minutes. Hold on one second, and I'll get everyone to huddle up with me. Real, just kind of wave everyone
People
over.
are dying, and you hear like a scream. Ah! Just at that point, and he kind of looking at all of you, like turns, like, I can wait no longer. Follow me if you have any heart of heroes. And he leaps off like the side of the ship, diving down into like the ocean waters below, kind of vanishing from sight.
Wait, so we have like 10 minutes. Does that mean there is time for mimosas maybe before we go?
Yeah.
Let's go check full deck.
You might want to make a plan too, and I'll just keep casting.
My best plans come after mimosas. So
Frederick,
I can't wait any longer. We're just gonna jump off the side of the
Okay,
ship.
wait.
after
When he
him.
says that, I'll just cast it normally. Fuck you guys.
Frederick is up on the deck with you guys at this point. The like the one elite guard of Frostblood that came with you, and he's been like just nursing the captain's supply of rum. And as Havoc's talking about the mimosas, he just takes one big like pull off the bottle and like offers it up to you, Havoc. Like,
yes, this is improvisational mimosa. I'll do it.
and so it's this delightfully spicy rum, man. It really is some delicious stuff. This is good shit that Frostblood had. You're gonna need to find out where the rest of the stash is. You have a conversation to have with Frederick later.
We are talking. This is good.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I'm going to go to Valerian and say, like, before you jump off, jump on my back when I'm in the water. And I'm going to wild shape into a giant seahorse and jump over the side.
I'm just gonna run across the water surface because I have a ring of water walking.
Excellent. Valerian, you jump off the side of the boat. Oh, there you go.
Onto a giant seahorse.
Yeah, I was like, did you jump inside of the seahorse?
He did.
You look like
Seahorse to
Poseidon.
swallow him.
It's very
Is there
awkward.
room on this seahorse for me?
I don't think so. I think it's only can take one mount. So yeah, Valerian's also fucking huge. So there's definitely not like he's got his arms around the neck of like the seahorse. He's kind of pulling himself onto it as you're like looking from the edge of the ship down at them. Havoc. Gheddar's bow is in his hand. He's up on the deck with you guys now, and he's like, "I'll make sure these hooligans don't steal the ship and support you from here. Says, fight well, friends."
Yeah, okay.
Giddy up!
Okay, yeah, I'll start swimming out toward my new elven friend.
I'm gonna cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay, excellent.
I'm casting mage armor.
Excellent. So you, as you're like striding across the top of the waves, Berriluss, you cast your mage armor. The arcane like force of magic kind of shielding your body from injury. Gimble, you are a seahorse churning through the water, staying up high enough near the surface that Valerian, you're on the back of this creature that's unlike anything you've ever ridden before. It's undulating and writhing underneath you in this vaguely uncomfortable motion. You have your arms wrapped around his neck, and yeah, he's like just high enough that the water is like seething through your metal armor, man. Your plate mail, like, and this your cloak, your eelskin cloak, kind of tattering out behind you, trailing along the tops of the water. Havoc, how are you going to get from the boat?
Yeah, is there like
I'm going to come back for Havoc, and I'm just going to dimension doors across.
Oh, wow. You're going straight for the dimension door. Berriluss turns back, realizing like, oh shit, I lost my fucking captain. And you guys dimension door here to the cliffside, just as this guy Sendak is like climbing up the rock next to you. This enormous hulking 5-headed hydra is got carnage splayed out all around it. You guys, as you appear standing here on the grass, the dim, like dying bonfire behind kind of still flickering in the early, like pre-dawn light. You see corpses laid out all over the place. There's still 2 men like standing toe to toe and fighting it. And off to your right here, you see this strange raised mound with these big stone plinths on it. And there's a group of people kind of like standing up there with bows and crossbows, and some of them with like javelins, hurling them down at this hydra. With that, Gimble, you race through the water, cutting until you make your way here to the coastline so that your ally Valerian can be deposited. And with that, gentlemen, I will say let's roll initiative.
Yes.
Initiative!
Click your tokens.
Yes, click your tokens indeed, friends.
Come on, Valerian. 17.
Gimble, as you're in the water now doing your thing, you notice you can't help but catch it. You druidic creature, you in your seahorse form, you feel like you can hear under the water much more acutely than you could in your gnome body. And there is like a massive hulking shark that's circling around all of this too, and seems to have like caught the attention of you moving, right?
Gotcha.
Okie dokie, friends. Last guy right here, this fellow. Did that work? That didn't work. Sorry, my bad. Everything is like stacking on top of itself. I'm opening all these sheets and then like minimizing them, and they're all minimizing to exactly the same spot. So I have to sort through them. My favorite. Okay, excellent. With that, initiative on 20, the Hydra goes. It proceeds to, excuse me. Its heads lash out. 1, 2, 3 of them attacking the first guy. 2 attacking the second.
Oh, poor guys. At least it's not us, am I right?
Yeah.
Its jaws lashing and thrashing, it's chopping and ripping down at these fellows, and it rolled pretty fucking terribly, to be honest with you. One guy gets like torn. You see like one of the mouths. These two must be stalwart fighters, man. You see one of the guys with his shield battering heads away as it comes down, ripping at them. And you can see that the Hydra is bleeding from a couple places. There's some javelins sticking out of its torso. All 5 heads are still intact. It seems to have truly done a number on these poor people. But with that, it shreds this one guy's leg wide open with one of its mouths as it clamps down on it. On 17, Valerian, you are up, sir.
Look, yeah. I never get to go first. That's fun.
I know. It really is fascinating.
Yeah. All right. So I think I'm just gonna. I really want to kill this thing. Like more than I wanted to kill something for a while. For some reason.
It is enormous.
Yeah,
it's
it's
massive, hulking Hydra. It
like,
looks like many thousands of pounds and bigger than like the clay golem or the flesh golem by a lot. It's huge.
I feel like Hercules. All right, so he's gonna be like, "All right, meet me at the front," and then I'm gonna Misty Step.
Oh shit! Okay.
Just straight up to it, 30 feet, and then
We're
just
all
get
about
up
getting there.
to it with the rest of my movement. That's my bonus action, so I'm just gonna attack the thing because
You
that's
sure
what
are.
Valerian does best, you know. 18 hit.
18 does indeed hit. You lash out with the massive greatsword given to you by your lord and cleave into this thing's scales. They shatter and rend.
I'm also going to divine smite. Just so
Excellent. Got it. Thank you.
you're
I
welcome.
love your protocols. For 10 points of slashing damage plus. Holy shit, 18 points of radiant damage with the increased divine smite. That is 28 points of damage together. Valerian, like hops off the sea turtle, like climbing up the rock side, standing at the edge, and he gets a look at this thing. And you two next to him, Havoc and Berriluss, glance over, and you just see a gleam of fervor and bloodlust in his eyes as he whoosh, just like vanishes, reforming right in front of it, like bringing this enormous sword down. And you can see the gleaming green radiant energy of his divine smite appear on it as he straight up cleaves one of the heads directly off of the Hydra in one shot. It now has only 4 heads. Excellently done. That's your first attack.
That's my first attack. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Second attack. 18 hits.
I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna divine smite again.
Mm-hmm. For 13 plus.
Let's just do it at a level 1.
Oh dear God. So he brings the massive sword down, and this thing is like as one of the heads completely, like he chops about halfway down the neck, and the head falls like rolling aside at his feet, snapping like blindly at nothing as it like chops before realizing it's dead. And like glancing down at it for only an instant, he proceeds to like bring the sword up from down below in this huge kind of underhand arc, and just without, like it's nothing, like it's no big deal at all, he lops off another one of the thing's heads in a second single strike. The 5-headed Hydra, after one segment of initiative, now has 3 heads. Valerian, that's your bonus action. You still have movement if you want to move.
No, he's just gonna scream out, "I am the storm!"
These men next to you, the 2 men who were like fighting this thing next to you, are like, "By the grace of Rome, we are saved! We are saved!" They like can't believe this. There's dead people everywhere, and you just showed up out of nowhere and like took half this thing's heads off. Berriluss, Cosmis, you are up.
So sorry, are those the 2 guys that I'm seeing between me? They're kind of like blended in on my screen. Can I
This
move?
guy and this fellow, yes.
So then, can I move in between them? Like
Yeah.
over to here, say. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Cool. Berriluss, you're up, brother.
I'm gonna step over in a viscerally direction and then maybe lightning bolt.
Excellent. Stepping in a viscerally direction, you reach into your component bag and draw out like this glass rod, drawing it across a piece of fur, and just like fire off this lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Sweet mother of Moses. Dex save. DC 16, 19.
Oh no. It's so
makes
dexterous.
its dexterity saving throw. It is so dexterous. It was not this dexterous when it had 5 heads. It was way too cocky to move this fast. 39 points of damage. That's down to 19. Excellent. 65, 75. Gotcha. This lightning bolt rips off flashing light through the darkened island. The dead bodies sprawled out around you, and the blood in the grass is illuminated in this bright flash as this like arc of electricity just rips through the Hydra, and it rears up like screaming, like blood just spraying from these 2 decapitated heads on its right side as the other 3 lash wildly. That's some of your movement and action. You have movement and a bonus action left.
I'm good here.
Okay, he's good there, says the man. Cool. Sendak goes. He proceeds to come running around over to this way behind it and proceeds to, what do we got here? Yep, he just is going to conjure a flame blade in his hand and come charging up at this thing. You see this like twisting arc of fire in the hand of this half elf as he comes running from the bank, swinging it like the back and landing this fiery sword down on it for 10 points of damage. Die, beast! Cool. That Sendak giant seahorse goes on 10.
I would like to look around and see if there's anything floating around in the water worth grabbing. Like, I'm looking for amulets or weapons or like even underwater. Is there a perception check or something I can do to see about?
Roll like an investigation check, sure. I mean, there's all these like this debris floating around.
Yeah, I want to see if I can see through the
water.
debris to something that might be worth something for me to
I thought Tone had really high natural perception.
Yes, by the way.
10.
As you're like scoping out the water, right, you definitely see the shark, and you can see like some glinting like way over here. You have no idea what, but there's something, seems to be like some kind of metal, right, that's like recently landed there, sitting on the surface of the water just over around the corner. You see where I'm pinging?
No. Okay.
Past the shark over on the right.
Okay, yeah, if I can.
But you see the shark also coming at you, and there's nothing like in the immediate vicinity around you of any particular interest, right?
Okay. Then what I will do is to drop wild shape, it's a bonus action. Or an action?
90% sure it is, yes.
9th level. Yeah, this is so long. I'm trying to read through it right now. I'll learn this, I promise.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so like moon druids can wild shape as a bonus action. I'm pretty sure all druids can unwild shape as a bonus action.
Right.
I'm double checking it now. Yep. You can revert to your normal form by using a bonus action. Okay. Yep.
Then what I think I want to do is kind of go right up to the edge and using my bonus action unwild shape from the seahorse. And then using my action, I want to wild shape into a giant eagle.
Okay.
So then I'm going to use my movement to, as an eagle, fly up right in front of Havoc and bow my head to him, like allowing him to step on if he wants on his turn.
By the way, I don't know if I'm on the turn order list.
That is true, you are not.
My mistake. Would you roll for your initiative, Havoc? Do you remember? We can scroll up and find you here.
3.
Ha. Well,
Trace.
quite fortunate. Thank you for catching that. I'm just messing with your sheet for 1 second. Okay, cool. You're good. Havoc is on 3, which will be right here at the end. Okay, cool. I'm gonna move your giant seahorse right over here and keep it out so that I guess it stays on the initiative, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so you've changed into a giant eagle. You're in front of Havoc. This shark goes and comes like dashing over here to where you just like crawled up out of the water, like, mad shark. Havoc, Skamos, you go on 3.
When I'm on a mount, based on my experience, is it easier for me to be able to like aim and fire and shoot and stuff, or is it better when I'm like in a fixed location?
It's not any easier, right? There's definitely like, but it's not like particularly harder either. On that note, like, it's not a real problem for you to be mounted, other than if you take damage, you will have to like roll a check to make sure you don't fall off your mount.
Is that like is that an animal handling check?
Mm-hmm. Basically.
Even though it's a druid? That's
yeah, I wouldn't make him roll it exactly. I mean, like it's a dex check, I would think, but I'm just double checking it now.
That
like obviously he doesn't need to handle Gimble, or does he?
Yeah, right? Yeah, because it's like it's your friend. You could be like, hey, I'm gonna jump off and you can catch me or some shit like that.
Yeah, for real. So that said, like it's not a problem for you to ride the mount unless you're like really concerned about falling off. It's not going to be hard, in other words, for you to shoot.
Okay. Getting on the mount, is that count as movement?
Half your movement to get on the mount. Yeah, it takes half your movement, right?
Okay. All right. I'll mount up then. And then I've been watching the fight. Have I noticed the Hydra take fire damage this round?
No, you haven't. It took electricity damage. Yeah, it did. You did see it because Sendak cast a flame blade, and so he came running up and like cut it with this fiery sword.
Okay. All right. So,
and just for reference, I'm looking at mounted combat right now. You have advantage on melee attacks against an unmounted creature if it's smaller than the mount. So anything like, medium sized, you can force an attack targeted at your mount to target you instead. If you want, like you can take the hit for Gimble, right? And if your mount's subjected to an effect that allows it to make a dex throw to take half damage, it instead takes no damage if it succeeds on the saving throw and half if it fails. These are all like technicalities for a real mount, but we'll apply them. They work.
I also forgot to say, and you can say it won't count, but I wanted to have my beast skin apply to this transformation because it didn't on the first one.
Yeah. I figured as much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's try, just for a little variety here, a thunder wave.
Okay, thunder wave is like a 10-foot circle around you, in other words. So like it's the kind of thing where
localized to me every time.
Yeah, it's just like this explosion around you that pushes everyone back, right?
That sounds bad for Gimble. So since I studied the spell and know that, I'm gonna rethink that. All right, I guess I'll just I was going to save the fireball action for later since it already took fire damage, but well, how quickly Gimble's on his way there, but we're not within like melee distance yet, right?
No, you're like you specifically are 30 feet away from this creature.
All right, just to save on the fireball action for as long as possible, since it already took fire damage, I'll try doing my special attack with the hand cannon.
Excellent. So you fire the hand crossbow off, like conjuring the magic that's bound into it to send one of your thunderous smites into it. 19 hits solidly.
Wait, sorry.
That's okay.
Wrong
yeah, it's
bag.
no sweat. Ooh, I have the sneeze like hanging right on the end of my nose, you guys. It's killing me for like 10 minutes.
Oh, it's the worst.
Take a sneeze break. I'm gonna figure out what I need.
Yeah, for real. Okay, excellent. So it is not actually technically a crit, but it takes 4 points of piercing damage plus 2 points of thunder damage, and it rolls a strength save, or it's knocked prone as this bolt fires off the tiefling's hand crossbow, sailing through the 30-foot gap over the eagle, smashing high into this thing's body. And you guys just hear this report. Boom! The snapping explosion of thunder. 17. He makes his saving throw and is not knocked prone, but he does take some good damage. Cool. So that's your hand crossbow attack there, Havoc. What else you got? That's your action. You have movement and a bonus action, technically, is what I'm saying to you.
Can I fire again as a bonus action?
You cannot, because it's a reloading weapon. So like the bonus action is this thing where, like, you know, you could attack with your offhand if you were to like run all the way up to it and try to stab it.
Well, I guess since I'm on the eagle, throw a dagger at him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could do that. So you mount up onto the eagle and go for it. Roll a dagger attack. And it misses as you like jump up onto the eagle's back, and you realize like how strange it is that this eagle is wearing like leather armor. Gimble's armor seems to have like maintained its shape and changed to fit this enormous eagle. So you jump on the back, grabbing on the collar of the leather armor, and snap this dagger end over end, but it hits the scales of this massive beast and is deflected, cartwheeling off into the darkness.
This would be worthy of the Hollandaise. That's all I can say.
That is your action, your bonus action, half your movement. You are now mounted. Excellent. With that, Hydrakos, it only has 3 heads left, but it does still have 3 heads left. Valerian, you are its nightmare, and it will eat. Bite, and bite. 12, 23, and 12.
The 23 hits.
I make the 23 a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, Berriluss has seen this, and he knows that Valerian, half-giant of Abrea, will not feel the bite of this creature's claws. And so right as its jaws are about to snap closed on you, Valerian, you snap your sword up out of the way, and you have this strange kind of sense of deja vu, like this happened before, and it didn't end as well last time, and you're able to deflect its blow.
Nice.
With that, Valerian, you're up on 17.
All right.
It's the decapitation round.
Let's do it again. Oh!
Boom!
So I am gonna divine smite naturally.
Of course.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
Because it's just too much fun.
I want to see if he really can take 5 heads off in 5 swings. I'll be so fucking impressed. Okay, 19 plus.
Come
on. 20 plus 1 more on the divine smite, because that gets doubled from the crit.
Shit.
So that's 39 points of damage plus Paladin's kids.
God, that's amazing.
39, 42, 52 points of damage. Valerian, you catch this thing's mouth in your sword with the help of one diviner watching from the sidelines, and then it's your turn, and you just proceed to channel the eldritch power of your lord, and your blade glows green as you're like and drive the sword straight through the thing's head out the other side, shearing another head off completely. What did we say here? 13, 22, 33, 43, 52 points of damage, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, he will roll a Constitution saving throw for mass damage because he took more than 50 points from a single attack.
Guys,
He does not die from massive damage, but he only has 2 heads left. You have 1 more attack.
Pray on this one, guys.
Curt. Oh.
Almost.
Close, huh? Damn close. Okay. You cleave into it again with the greatsword.
All right, and I'm gonna divine smite again.
Of course you are.
I gotta fulfill on my promise, man.
I hear you. 12 plus.
Big money, big money. Oh.
Big money.
17. That's 29 points of damage, which is in fact more than 25. And ironically, you swing your sword overhead, cleaving off the 4th of its 5th heads, and with blood seething and pouring from all of its decapitated necks, this thing like shudders and staggers backwards, crashing into
my
the
God.
pile.
Valerian, man, that was amazing.
You 9th level paladin, Valerian, the green. Yeah, it drops.
Like I told you guys. I told you. You should have taken bets on that.
These 2 guys next to you are just like, and they both like turn and look at you. And the guy to your right with the shield is like, "What is your name, sir?"
I am Valerian's Thunderstrike, and I seek sandwiches.
Oh, praise Valerian Thunderstrike! Let him eat until he explodes! Valerian! Valerian! And the guy next to him is like, "We're alive! We're alive!" He's like screaming, and like these 2 like grab your arms and start like lifting up, and you hear like shouts and hoots and calls of like glee and jubilation from the motley battered people up on this cliffside behind, and Sendak the half-elf is just standing here fucking dumbfounded. His hand falls to his side, this flaming sword just like holding there in his hand. He's like, he glances back at you, Gimble, like the eagle, and he cries out in Druidic, in this language that none of you understand except for the small gnome, like, "You weren't kidding about this guy being big. My word." Okay, what's everybody else doing?
I think I'm going to fly with Havoc over the shark and have him start taking shots.
Kill the shark.
Shark steaks, I've heard, are very tasty. Also, we should check to see if hollandaise sauce is done yet.
So you're just literally like firing crossbow bolts down into the water at the shark, and it takes a couple of hits, and then it proceeds to just like dive down trying to get out of the way. The shark is not some kind of like intelligent, nefarious creature. It's literally just a massive shark that was like hanging out here hoping to catch a free meal, eating dead bodies and like chummed in from all the blood of the corpses, right?
Then I guess I want to fly around with him, and maybe the both of us can be searching the wreckage for valuables to steal.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah.
For that? Investigation?
Yeah. Investigation. 26. You can see one of these like crates over here, Havoc. You like as Gimble is like flying you over it, you hear like a telltale sign. It's a sound known well to a pirate captain. It's the sound of a crate of glass bottles clinking into one another, packed in hay in that big massive box.
This one?
Over here, blue ping.
Oh, I can.
It's further away out in front of the ship.
This one?
Right there. Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I'll fly over and kind of land on it for him.
Yeah, you're like kicking your feet, your claws, like you're like kind of dancing, right? Like balancing with like these huge wings as this thing like sways and churns, and like it's hard because it's not really stable for you to find purchase, right? But you're like dancing on the edge of it. Havoc, as you like cling to this armor on this giant eagle, you can like look down in and you see that like some of the boards on part of this thing are like shattered, and as you like look down in, you see many bottles like packed in hay.
Yeah.
And you could like reach down in and pull a couple out, right?
Well,
Say you can get like 6
Here
or
is
8.
my plan.
Yeah.
Eagle, do not leave. I am going to fix rope to your armor. I will fix other end of rope to a crate. We bring back to ship.
You're dragging it back to your ship, not to the poor people who are dying. Okay, got it. So you guys like proceed to
Give a couple
start.
bucks.
Yep, I feel you. Listen, no judgment, man. Just assessing. So you like pull this rope out and like whatever. You guys are over on the shore, and you can kind of see now as the dawn is starting to like kiss the sky and light is like making its way. You could see the eagle with Havoc on its back out fucking around with one of the crates in the water. Berriluss, you and Valerian are with these guys, and Sendak, this half elf, walks over to you, and he's just like, you must be the wizard who sees the future, then.
I knew you'd say that.
He chuckles and like nods a little bit like, that's the right answer. Since you, Valerian half-giant, I have never seen your kind on any of the shores of Abrea, but I will tell you now, sir, I have never been happier to see a person than I am you right now. You have saved these men's lives. I will be able to return to my home with all those yet who survived in my care, and I cannot begin to thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome. I was told there'd be sandwiches. Really?
He says, I am very sorry, but we do not have bread. That said, I can give you as much meat as you can eat, my friend. If you will sit and eat and drink with us, we shall show you how the Bree celebrate a victory such as this.
Oh, like a party? I've been in many parties out in the woods. That sounds creepy. But I mean, like the Fae parties. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But yeah, I'd love to see how you Bree celebrate. And if you could figure out the sandwich ordeal, that would also be good.
He says, would but we could, my friend. Bread is a true commodity for us who live the life of fisher folk, seal hunters, but I am sure that you will enjoy what we do have to share with you. Come. And he like glances out at the eagle like, your friends are quite odd, but they can frankly take whatever they want at this point. You've saved our lives. And so like with that, they kind of like lead you up over here to this ring, and these other people up here, they like lean down and help like kind of pull you up onto like this big raised mound, and you see these 5 stone pillars here, each of them like carved and marked in these runes with ivy kind of growing up around their base. And as you come up, like each of the men, the warriors, like they all like smile and acknowledge you, Berriluss, but they like go to Havoc as though he's like a long lost brother, right? They're all like embracing him and patting him and like, ah! And every other one like shoves like a wineskin into your hand to drink. And they have this kind of like fermented goat's milk that they all like keep handing you, and they're all like between like pounding them themselves and passing them around between each other. They seem to be in great jubilation for
They're
this
handling
victory
it to
that you're
Valerian,
given.
right? He's the one
Yeah.
being okay, cool.
Hell yeah.
And Rich, once we've got the crate on board,
Yeah.
we'll just grab as many bottles as we can fit, and then head back. Unless you've got another plan, Gimble.
Sure, yeah, we can head back. That's fine. Yeah, I'm still a bird. That'll work.
Okay, cool. And so, yeah, like as Gimble the giant eagle like sits perched on the side of the ship, and Gheddar and Frederick like pull the rope and get this big box of liquors up onto the boat. Havoc, you're able to like point these guys out, like unload everything, get it down below, and they're like, yes, sir, you got it. And so, yeah, you could pretty much like take everything that's in there. There's clearly shit all over the place. These people are just in like glory to be alive. So you hop back onto the Eagle, and you two are able to fly back across the gap to where the rest of the gang hangs out.
We'll pass around the few bottles we brought over, add to the celebration.
Yeah, as you land, all these people are like cheering, and they're like, yeah, hooray to the Eagle and the Eagle Rider. Yeah, Valerian's Eagle Riders. And so they're just like glorious. A couple of them at this point have like gotten some sparks out of the other fire and carried them over to this mound and started building a new fire, and they're like hulking wood up onto it, and they're like, come with us, friends, sit, we will trade food and drink and share stories. You are heroes of the Bree on this day, and they say it is our obligation to give you our hospitality, and feed you full, and tell you of our ways before we send you on your own.
Maybe some of you would like to join us on our way when we go.
We're recruiting. Oh yeah, I'm still a bird. Sorry. Caw.
Caw.
Caw. Caw.
This is my friend Gwei here. Yeah, so they're all like, they kind of exchange some glances, a few of them, and like you see two of the guys like lean in and start like whispering to each other kind of very passionately when you make this suggestion. Maybe some of them can go with you. And Sendak kind of furrows his brow a little bit like, that's an interesting thought. But first, here, let's eat and drink, relax. He says we should exchange names and reflect on the fortune that we've had. So this night of yours, I've truly never seen anything like it. Hydras are rare, though not unheard of in this part of the world, and we suspect that this one was sent to harry us by the Quato army, but we fought it to a standstill for hours, Half-Giant. He says, you see the destruction it wrought upon my people, and these are not weak and feeble warriors. This is truly an accomplishment that will go down through the annals of history of the White Bear tribe. He says, so long as the White Bear Bree walk Abrea, we will speak of Valerian, the hero who cut the heads of the Hydra as easily as though he breathes.
I'm going to nod my head and say, here, as I put hollandaise on a slab of meat, put a slab of meat on that, and then more hollandaise, and then another slab of meat.
Got it. It's meat sandwiches. So yeah, Sendak is like, meat sandwiches, that's brilliant. Yes. meat sandwiches for everyone. Oh, and so they start like heaping like these heavy kind of steaks onto the fire, and the sound of the meat sizzling and cackling and popping on the heat begins. And they pass around the bottles that you took, which are some kind of like, it seems almost like a potato vodka or something like that. Something clear but strong. Not with like a particularly potent flavor, but certainly with a strong bite. And they're passing around the goat's milk and their vodka, and they begin cooking the meat on the fire. And I think this is probably, at an hour and a half, a perfect place for a break right here.
Perfect. So we're going to do the break a little differently. Everyone can just take 5. I'm just going to throw a logo up there, and we can all return in 5 minutes to the rest of this adventure.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Hey everybody, we're back.
We're back.
I got a
Oh
lollipop.
boy.
Hi.
I was actually wondering if people could hear my dog barking in the background the whole time. Gizmo has been barking literally for an hour straight, and it's just like, what the hell are you barking at, you stupid dog?
You heard about the meat sandwich.
Somebody just came in, so mine, of course, just started going ape shit as soon as we came back. But yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, they want sandwiches and Hydra battles.
Cool. So, you guys have felled the Hydra. I say you guys, but you know.
Valerian.
And so the Bree folk have like built up a little fire up here on this like raised mound of earth within these stone plinths, and Sendak the druid kind of stands with you guys and gestures for you all to sit. And so they've all begun like cooking meat on this small fire and passing around the drinks and just kind of like bleeding off that wild, crazy adrenaline that a fight like that brings on.
I'm gonna stay an eagle for as long as I can and just keep flying over, both scouting and trying as a game for myself to like bird shit on the different members of my team each time I swing around. So, like,
okay,
swing
roll
one is
like an
okay, I'm
attack
gonna try
roll.
to hit Havoc. Boop. And then the next
Roll
one's
an attack roll.
an attack roll? Oh.
Yeah.
Like a dart? Okay. Yeah, that's a dart. 9 to hit on Havoc.
9. A big like wad of bird shit just slaps down into the ground right next to you, Havoc, and like sprays kind of splattering like all around you. It's like you glance up like, okay. And so Sendak like glances up at that and sort of shrugs, looking back to the rest of you like, he says, words of your accomplishment are already creeping out across the Cold Star Coast, friends.
It's been like 5 minutes.
Said, not today's accomplishment, my friend Valerian. I mean, of course, yesterday's your taking of the Widowmaker. That is no small feat. He says, Frostblood has been a scourge to the people in this part of the world for many years. Whispers of his fall move like the tides already.
Yeah, we did that.
Yes, and I hear the fearsome pirate Dark Spawn the involved in this takeover. It's crazy, no?
He kind of turns, smiling at you like, crazy indeed. He must be on the ship then, manning your crew.
You would think so. You would. Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe he's hiding in the rigging.
He looks back to you and he says, you were Frostblood's wizard, weren't you, Berriluss?
Yeah, for longer than I would have liked to have been.
I can understand that sentiment. He said, so what are your plans now?
A bit of this, a bit of that. You know, some dark evil. I've seen some things.
And he just kind of nods like, I only ask because, well, especially with the dread Captain Darkspawn involved in your takeover, I was curious as to whether or not you all intended to join with the other coalition of raiders on the Cold Star Coast. Says, you know, there's a vast network of pirates. Certainly Berriluss could tell you of them if he's worked with Frostblood for that long.
Not a bad idea, the network. Sometimes, members of network have troubles with one another. So I've heard. I don't know.
And he nods like, I could imagine that such a coalition is not one easily managed. I only asked because you said you all were looking for crew. And if you want some of these fools to get onto your boat and work with you, you'll have to give up the goods, so to speak. They'll need to know what they're doing. He says, I have men that would be inclined to join with you, men and women, as the point stands, but they won't sign up for reaving and raiding on the Bree people. So what are your plans with this pirate ship? Is it pirating? No judgment. You are our heroes.
Personally, I've never found the reaving or, of the smaller communities to be all of that profitable. So, in my point of view, we are looking for larger scores than this.
Larger scores? He says, well, that is an interesting thought. He says, you're some formidable killers, slayers. That one especially, gesturing at Valerian, as they, like, one of the Bree men is, like, handing you one of the meat stack sandwiches, like...
This is for Valerian as he's trying to get his sandwiches.
9, a huge wad of bird shit comes soaring out of the air, just missing your beef, Valerian, as it, like, splatters on the stone.
I like that hollandaise.
Hissing off the fire, like... Sendak glances up again and looking back at you, and he says, carrying on, he says, have a lot of you ever heard of a rock before? Giant birds.
Oh, ROC. Yes, rock.
Well, I was going to say there's like 5 right here.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Thank you. Yeah, duh.
He says, it is a hell of a name for a flying creature. I always wondered myself. They should have named them mountains if they wanted to convey the size, but they are massive.
They were bigger. They're bigger than the thing I just killed over there?
He just nods slowly. He says, imagine a hawk, a raptor, perhaps 10, 20 times the size of your shitting friend up there. He like gestures at Gimble.
Hey, that's for Sendak. Yeah.
24, just as he looks up. He kind of like is squinting, like wipes it out of his eyes. This big wad of squint, like he's doing that on purpose. He's definitely doing that on purpose.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I'll land in wild shape back into myself now and just start laughing at Sendak. Sandwich?
He's like, well, if you're looking for money, he gestures over at the dead Hydra. He said the parts on that thing would certainly fill a chest with silver, if not gold. He says, but a rock, well, that, my friend Skamos, is a treasure. He says every feather that you pull off a bird such as that is worth perhaps a gold piece in the right market. Each pound of its flesh worth 5 if it's well preserved when you get it to a vendor. Their talons worth their weight in silver, and their beaks have been fashioned into terrible shields in the fighting pits in the southern regions. He said such a creature is worth more than its weight in gold by my understanding. He says, but my humble hunters, well, it's all I can do to take them harpooning seals and sea lions, especially with the troubles that we face at home with the Quatoa army. But if you all are looking for a score that's worth your time, well, I know where one of these creatures nests. It has a shadow that can blot out the sun, hide all the stars in the sky when they pass overhead, make the daytime as dark as night. They're so large. He says, and I know where one keeps what might be an active nest. It's far beyond the reach of my men. Like I say, there's a reason I've never sought to make such a score for ourselves. But if you want to bring us in on the cut, finder's fee perhaps. He says, we're humble people, and you've already given us our lives, but well, our lives aren't worth much if we don't have gold to trade for the food that we can't find for ourselves. Weapons, steel, these things don't come easily to us.
Bread for sandwiches.
Precisely. grain is a true
I'm
treasure.
in. Where do we go? How do we find?
Said not half a day on that ship that you've got yourself. He says if you can convince good Captain Darkspawn to take a detour. He says there's ruins of an old wilderness village called Long Dock, further to the southwest, about a half a day's sail of here. He says it's long been an abandoned place. You won't find any settlement or civilization there, but the docks still are in some manner of sturdiness on the shore. He said, you find those docks, they're a great seal hunting place as a matter of point, but we haven't been able to head that far down south in recent times since she took up nesting there. She's a hell of a dangerous creature. I warn you, friends, she could pick up that hydra easily and fly it off to her lair from here. It is a massive, massive bird.
Yes.
No easy fight.
Sometimes I have psychic link with this Darkspawn, and yeah, he's very interested. Yes, he likes this plan.
Good, good, he says. Perhaps we can be of assistance to each other then.
If we do help, is there any way you could teach me some of your like specialized druid magic, friend? Like I'm on a constant journey of druidic knowledge, and it seems like you could do some really cool stuff too. I mean, you turned into an owl and crept out of the shadows, and I can do the owl thing, but the shadow thing was really cool.
Certainly, he says. The word that I have of you is that you have just started a pilgrimage for yourself. He says that's why I was so very surprised when I heard you were mixed up with some band of scoundrels taking a pirate ship. He says, but the birds don't lie, Gimble, and the birds saw you and your friends as you cut Frostblood down. And so it was that I found you on the seas.
Wait, Sendak, these guys are scoundrels?
I am no scoundrel.
Well, none of them shit in my face, so I may have to rethink that moniker, but at first glance, he kind of shrugs.
How can you tell a scoundrel from a non-scoundrel?
What is a scoundrel?
How does one scoundrel?
He's like looking to each of you, and he says, upon thinking closer on this issue, I would label a scoundrel as noble liberators of a pirate ship which has too long been a scourge on the goodly peoples of this coast.
Oh, so we just became scoundrels. Okay, that makes sense. Because these guys are nice to me.
That's great. We're scoundrels. What do you know?
I am a scoundrel.
He chuckles at that, and a couple of the brief like look up laughing like, I love this guy. He's great. One of them's like, goddamn right you are, Valerian, and like tilts back his goat's milk is kind of like running over his mouth, drizzling down through his beard as he like drunkenly sucks away at the wineskin, like, to the scoundrels. Ah!
Oh God, I think we just got our name, guys. So yeah, I guess we're gonna go kill a rock.
That doesn't sound very fun. There are plenty of rocks around here.
Valerian, listen. When we get there, you're gonna love it. I promise. It's like Disneyland, but we said we're going to the dentist.
I have a hard time paying attention when someone talks for a long period of time.
So, where were you planning on going? What was your next stop? Did you have a destination in mind, even, or just the ship was a good start? I presume.
I heard there's an older village, not very inhabited, where there is some kind of big bird. We will go to his Sesame Street and repossess his flesh.
Like chuckles. He says, do you feel confident that you have the contacts to sell these items quickly enough? He says, I only ask because I cannot leave my men. He says, I had to fly out last night, desperate for aid, and I'm glad that I found you. I will never regret the choice, but I can't go with you. He says, we have to stay. We have to bury our dead, dispose of this beast, and salvage what we can from the seas back onto a ship.
Yeah, I think we could do it. We've got a friend back at the ship who seems to know a lot about different cities and towns and things, so he could probably point us towards somewhere to sell this stuff.
Rich, based on my network, do I have those contacts to be able to unload this stuff? And an additional note, based on what I know about hydras and rocks, could that be enough? And the money that I got from when we took the ship, could that be enough to maybe settle my debt?
It might well be if you find like a good buyer for all this stuff. If you're able to like get like premium and get like a good price selling all this stuff, you're gonna end up with a big haul of gold. I mean, a rock is not a small creature, and certainly you, having sailed the seas, have some idea of the value of the components you could take off this creature. So it could damn well be. To the extent of like, can you sell it? Certainly. You know many people in many markets up and down the coast, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
How would we transport this rock? It's giant. It's bigger than me.
Are you saying
you'll have to
carry it?
Maybe.
Well, don't we take it into like smaller pieces and then put it on the boat and then sail the boat wherever we're selling it?
It's still a lot of small pieces.
Yeah.
What if we eat a lot of sandwiches of rock before we
That would be some delicious sandwiches, I tell you what.
I like this plan. We'll eat it.
We'll
eat until we have enough that we can carry.
He says the meat doesn't sell at such a high cost because it's not good. It is a delicacy. And he turns and looks at you, Gimble, like, he says, go and make your strike on it. If you can lay him low, then send word to me. Send a messenger back this way, and we will make our way down the coast to meet with you before we return to the village.
Okay.
He says, my men can help you butcher and parse it out. We'll take care of the Hydra and load it onto our ship. He says, and perhaps then we will bring you back to my people, introduce their heroes to them, Valerian, the Hydra Slayer, and his merry men. He says, and from there, we can discuss the avenues you seek to pursue, and I can give you what assistance I might as you make your way out for your trades. Does that sound agreeable?
Sounds great.
Rich, as they're wrapping up these negotiations, can I go and just like check the Hydra body for anything of value?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you go over the Hydra body, right? Roll a nature check. You don't inherently like know a hell of a lot about these creatures, right? 14. Yeah, so like as you're scoping it out, you like are thinking to yourself like, oh, I bet like, teeth, claws, scales, this kind of stuff. You don't have a real great understanding of like what internal organs might be of like particular value, but certainly if you want to start cutting things off of it and like parsing it down, you could.
Yeah, I'll do some scales, some teeth, some claws.
Cool. So you just like break out like a heavy knife and start like cutting away at this thing as these guys are still talking, and you're like cutting off some of these scales, peeling them away, wrenching them up off at the base of the legs, cutting the toes, like chopping and hacking at it. It's a real gory scene, but you're beginning to parcel this thing up. Excuse me.
I'll go help him.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Strong man.
I'm done talking.
I'll take a short rest and meditate to recover my spell slot that I used and reset my wild shapes.
Okay, short rest. Any hit dice? Nobody took any damage.
Nope.
That's
I'll
the most
take my
ridiculous
little
fight.
short rest, get some
Oh, I'm gonna
stuff
do a
done.
short rest too.
Cool. Short rest of Mundo. So Berriluss, you get your arcane recovery. Havoc on a short rest. I'm not sure what you get back. Bardic inspiration. You didn't use any though.
Yeah. What about hand cannon recharge?
Those are 3 times per day, so you still have 2 left until like long rest, technically.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. So you guys regroup, and so the men are like still pretty bawdy and kind of living it up, but their excitement is like slowly begun to die off with their adrenaline. And as Havoc and Valerian are kind of chopping away at this Hydra, working it over, the men kind of begin to disperse, and they start collecting the bodies of their friends and family and comrades who fell here to the Hydra before you guys could arrive. And they're stacking them up and beginning to like gather pieces together in a pyre. Some of them work their way down towards the boats and the ships and start like heading out into the water, to swimming out there with ropes and whatnot to begin retrieving all this loose cargo that's gotten away from them. Taking the splintered wood from the casks and the crates, they begin building up the pyre underneath their friends. And so after you're done, all of you resting and kind of revisiting your spells, Berriluss, you scroll through your spell book, thumbing through it, using your arcane recovery, get your spells back. Gimble, you focus on the power of like the nature of Abrea and say your druidic prayers. And so, yeah, you guys have all like gathered and rallied up, and they're kind of working. And Sendak is like, if you follow the coast, he says, by the time that the noon sun hangs over the sky, you should see the docks. You can't miss them. He says, there are often seals, sea lions, and the like laid out on them, taking in the sun. It's become quite a nesting ground. They're, frankly, too small for the rock to bother with most of the time, and, well, they're quick underwater when it does strike. He says, but up on the cliffs there, right on the seaside, is its nest. It might not be seated on it, but you should be able to find it if you make your way.
Thanks, man. And I'll go over to Sendak and I'll be like, thank you for hunting me down. I like meeting new friends, and you're pretty cool. I'm gonna see you after this though, and you can maybe show me some. I'm really good with like rock and water, but I hear that there's really interesting things that can be done in different druidic circles. So maybe you can show me something when I get back.
And he like smiles at you, nodding like, it will be my pleasure to do so, Gimble Stonecloak. He says, I've never met a druid of your like before, and the stories I have heard about you such indicate that you have an interesting past, and one I'd love to hear about. So I would be more than honored to share the practices of my way with you.
Oh, awesome.
Excellent. He says, I wish you happy hunting, my friends, and I thank you with all that I have in my soul for coming to our aid. Scoundrels or not, you are heroes of the White Bear, Bree.
The pleasure was mine, especially with sandwiches of meat made with meat that have the meat.
Don't forget the hollandaise sauce.
It's very nice, huh?
One of the Bree men is like, you're gonna have to teach us how to make that if you live past the rock. That stuff was delicious.
If.
And so, you guys make your way back to the ship through, I'm sure, interesting practices and ridiculous pursuits. Gheddar has it anchored out here for you, and you could see he and the other 3 like milling around on the deck, like kind of watching to you guys from shore, wondering like when you're going to come back. And yeah, they'll actually like send out a rowboat for you after a time, and so all of you guys can file down and load up into the boat, and Frederick rows you back out to the ship itself, the Widowmaker. And so raising up the anchor and dropping the sails again, you begin to make your way again into the southwest, following the coastline as you go. Waves crashing. There's clouds which have begun to gather in the air, marring the bright blue sky quite differently from the open, bright stars of the night before. And the wind has picked up a little bit. You could feel a bit of moisture and a cold, cutting crispness in the air as the wind kind of whips across the deck, swinging the ropes and the sails out in front of you. And so Suka's just like, well, that was pretty impressive. You guys really are no joke. I mean, I know I've been overly grateful about your mercy and letting me steer the ship and everything, but I really am excited to work with the lot of you all. I mean, that was a Hydra, and I didn't get a great look from here, but it didn't seem to live very long after you guys hit the dirt.
Hey, yeah, we're gonna go set sail for this rock and go kill a rock.
Not the country, like I was thinking already. Country is safe. This is some kind
Dog
of
frenzy is happening.
Yeah, sorry, that's outside my house.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I just couldn't hear. I'm sorry. I hate to.
Yeah, I can show. Let me show my window. It's gonna be a hot
Dog
shit.
frenzy.
Yeah, bro, serious.
Sorry, Alan. Okay, what were you saying, Havoc? Can we rewind?
I believe there was something along the lines of rock is a large parakeet. We'll go pick it up.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. You guys say you're gonna go get the rock, and his eyes like go wide, and he's like, they've been known to carry off whole ships before. You know that, right?
Well, that will be your responsibility when we go up there. Make sure no parakeets take off with ship.
You can leave the Dragonborn with us again, though, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Gheddar's kind of leaning up against the rail, eating a sandwich, like, yeah, I'll take care of it. Quite glad to consume the last of the carbs while you guys are out doing your crazy adventuring things.
Of course.
So, guys, I've got a really good idea for taking on this rock. I can summon 2 giant eagles and turn into a giant eagle, and then you 3 can ride on the giant eagles and we can attack it.
Can you just make me fly?
I could turn you into a giant eagle, but
No, that's counterproductive.
yes, I thought so. No, I can't just make you fly, unfortunately. I'll ask Sendak if he can teach me that, though. That might be something he could teach me. I don't know, though.
Yeah, not being able to fly is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But many a fey bird in my day.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, you could ride on a flying thing.
I feel you're being vague and misleading.
No, like I said, we'll have 3 giant eagles, and you guys can ride those giant eagles and attack the rock together.
And I will make portion of whatever mountain or hill, large rocky outcropping come to life. Smash on our parakeet friend.
If we can open with that, that'd be sick. But I don't think we're gonna be able to open with that.
What, do you think we should maybe open with a singing number? Maybe
That would be fun too. I like that.
family or something.
Has anyone ever hunted a rock before? Here?
Are we talking about the bird again, or are we talking about rocks again?
No, just big rocks. Have you ever hunted a big rock before?
No.
Oh, how about the bird?
No.
Why ask if there's a difference if answer is both no?
I was just confused as to the context again.
Fair enough.
I'm surprised he knows the word context.
Yes,
He's not stupid. He's just misunderstanding.
Okay, and so as the ship races, cutting through the water, following the coast further to the southwest, and the clouds kind of begin to gather in the sky above you, a thin kind of drizzling rain begins to fall, very thin and a bit cold as the weather is kind of coalescing, collapsing on you all from the north. And so you churn your way to the south. And after a few hours of talking and bullshitting on the boat, discussing your plans of rocks and context and stones and sandwiches, you got to see and vodka. Much vodka. There is a great surplus of vodka on this ship now.
Heck yeah.
So, as you guys are cutting along, you see these huge kind of cliffs. The coast side to your right, all the coast side that you've seen in the past few days, it's gray granite mountainscapes with patchy green grass, but mostly stone that meets the sea. There's sort of alpine, like thin coniferous forests that cover these mountainscapes as you go. But the shore, for the most part, is relatively low and has not been that high. And as you guys are cutting further and further south, you see these kind of the shore climbing into this cliffside until it stands looming over you on the port side of the ship. And then a shadow passes over the boat, darkening things. And the shadow comes first, and kind of the darkness in the gray light of this kind of rainy, cloudy day washing over you, Berriluss. You're instantly back to the dreams that you were having the night before, and you feel this tugging sensation, and all of you can't help but glance up instinctually as this shadow passes, and you see this massive behemoth of a bird flying above all of you. It is of a scale that, though you've been discussing it all day, none of you could really perceive. With its wings unfolded and spread out left to right, it feels like it must be hundreds of feet on its wingspan for it to actually be that size. There is a sense that you all have that, like, oh my word, it might not be able to pick this ship up, but it certainly could capsize it. It is massive and unlike anything any of you have ever seen before. And as it passes overhead, taking moments to like fly over the length of the ship and moving out in front of you, you see it turn in to the right and kind of circle over the cliffside before it eases itself down. Its wings pushing back, and it pulls itself down, landing on the rocks, the stones, the cliff. And you can kind of see this massive prehistoric beak glinting in the sunlight, almost like half a mile away as the ship is pulling on. And at this point, Suka, who's been at the wheel for most of this time, is like, by the grace of the dragons, that thing is enormous. You're going to go fight that?
Oh, we're going to go kill it.
Of course we will fight it.
Gimble.
That's the point, right?
Yeah. So when he says that, I will conjure 2 giant eagles with conjure animals and then wild shape myself into a giant eagle, maintaining my AC with my armor and making sure the amulet carries over whatever that's supposed to carry over, because I'm not sure what that does exactly.
Gimble.
Oh yeah, it gives me my my talon hits with magical. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, what it does explicitly, so you're clear on it. It just allows like your natural attacks to act as enchanted weapons, so that it can like bypass something that's resistant to non-magical weapon damage. Right?
Cool.
Yeah.
So I've got magical talons.
Excellent. So giant eagles, 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
Gimble, can you perhaps drop me on top of the eagle's head for a moment? I jump off, you catch me again?
Gah! I'll shake my head because I maintain my intelligence, so I understand him, right? I just can't talk, so
Correct.
I'll nod. Although, just so you know, it depends on the turn order if something like that's going to work, but we'll see.
Okay.
It's physically possible.
So do we control these eagles, or do you control these eagles?
They're like normal mounts now. You're going to have to animal handle them, except for the person riding me.
That's bad.
Havoc.
Or Valerian.
I'm sorry. I'm just setting up you guys' mounts and like grouping them all up to get this right. Just
it's a
bear with me.
concentration spell, so if I lose concentration,
it sure is.
You guys drop out of the sky.
It sure is. Really excited to see how this plays.
It hasn't been 24 hours though, right?
God.
It hasn't been 24 hours. It's been within 1 day, correct? That we've done the other thing and this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we can all still breathe underwater. So if you fall into the water, you can breathe under the water.
I'm not really worried about that. I'm just worried about falling like 500 feet onto some stone.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. yeah.
Havoc is not afraid of being stoned a little.
Okay, cool. So I've got you guys set up with your crazy eagle routine. So Gimble begins casting, weaving his hands and chanting and praying. And so just to double check here, you're casting conjure animals for 2 beasts, challenge rating 1 of lower, right?
Yep.
Those are your giant eagles.
Yep.
Excellent. Then you wild shape into the 3rd eagle. Yep. Who's riding Gimble and who's got the other 2? This is of note.
Havoc's on me.
Interesting. You like it when Havoc's on you. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, its arrangement felt natural.
He's good because he's got the crossbow, and I can work with that more easily than I think the other 2 just need to get in close and swing at this thing.
But our first move will be for Gimble to drop me
I got you.
top of head of rock.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will be jumping from there, and Gimble will be catching of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. And so Gheddar watching this whole thing, he's like, I felt a little bit left out, but now that this plan's coming together, I'm really okay staying here with the carbs. Good luck, you guys. I'll run a real clean ship if you don't make it back.
Keep the hollandaise warm, my friend.
Oh, always. Nothing better than warm hollandaise. And so with that, the 3 of you choose Valerian the Massive, who has astride his eagle. Valerian's with his plate mail on and stuff. It can fly you, but certainly it's quite a sight. Fortunately, you've ridden some things before, so you have some understanding of how to do this. Berriluss, this is not a ship. This is pretty intense, man. And these 2 giant eagles leap up off the side of the deck of the ship, diving down. And it seems almost like they're going to plummet straight into the water as their wings extend next to them and they begin. Now, we call them giant eagles because they are in fact enormous, right? They have a 20-something foot wingspan. They seem enormous, but compared to the bird that you guys just saw, these feel like very petite eagles right now. And so...
They can also understand verbal commands, so that's the other key to these.
But it's just from you, right? Just your
giant
verbal.
Eagle on the sheet understands common and
no.
but can't speak.
Yeah. No, I know that. But giant eagles are intelligent is the idea, but the eagles that you have summoned obey any verbal commands that you Gimble issue to them. If you don't issue any commands to them, they defend themselves from hostile creatures but otherwise take no action. So you have to technically steer these.
Well, can he issue the verbal command
to
tell
follow
them to listen to our verbal commands?
Yes, that's exactly what you can do.
Okay, so now I'll waste a wild
loophole
shape. I'll
command.
unwild shape.
No, that's fine. You would have known all this before you did it. I'm just going through the moving pieces.
I thought
so
because
players,
they understood common that they wouldn't be compelled to follow them, but they would at least understand their commands and do if they wanted to follow them, right?
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm just parsing the spells as they stand, right? So we understand exactly what's going on. But yes, that is true. That said, they may be yo, dude, I don't want to die. I'm out of here.
Sure.
Right. And they are conjured. They're under your control. They will obey your commands, which you're telling them to serve their mounts.
Yes,
so they will. And so these two eagles with Gimble and Berriluss, or with Valerian and Berriluss, leap off the edge of the ship, their claws kind of dipping into the water as they gain their momentum and begin pumping and pounding away, catching the drifts, lifting up further from the sea. And within moments, the Widowmaker is a shrinking image behind you as you guys are pulling away, sailing up towards this cliffside. The view of this monstrous bird just becoming more and more monstrous as you close the distance between the ship and it. And Gimble, you have shifted, and Havoc, you saddle up on his back, and Gimble, you leap out, following these other two off the ship, making your way out. And so with that, I will bring us to the map.
I'm gonna lean over to mine and be fly low to the ground.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
As you see Valerian's dip down in, and it's trailing just above the water, yours follows, Berriluss, and the two of you, their wings almost touching as they run parallel to each other. Now, as you guys begin coming in, really closing the distance, you see the ruined docks that Sendak spoke to you about, and sure enough, they're covered in sea lions, these big, hulking 600, 700, 800,000 pound mammals sprawled out, taking in the warmth of the air here above. There's this thin kind of misty drizzle pouring from the air, and you guys are cutting through it as it streaks into your face, the wind pulling at your eyes. You can't help but squint, your hair blasting behind you, Berriluss, your staff tucked tightly at your side. Valerian, your armor grows cold and damp as this eagle pounds through the air. And Gimble, you have this exhilarating feeling of the wind just pulling through your feathers as your avian body carries the weight of your new ally here, Havoc Skamos. And so as the three of you down here,
I'm casting mage armor.
of course.
Yep, I'm gonna do the same and cast Shield of Faith.
Okay, cool. So how many spells you guys have left? Just keep in mind for yourself. I don't know how many you burned. Havoc,
Plenty and a million.
Or Valerian.
I have not many left.
Got it. You guys can see this enormous hulking rock sitting on its nest up here, kind of eyeing lazily the coast and the sea lions and your three forms as you begin to close in on it. That said, what would you guys like to do?
If you guys are able, if I can yell to them, if you guys are able, look inconspicuous for a moment. Gimble, take me around the side, not to raise suspicion. Drop me on the head.
Okay. I'm gonna try to stay pretty high above the bird if I can. How high is the rock flying?
The rock's not flying. It is sitting on its nest.
Okay, great.
Up
That's
here
perfect.
on this ridge. But it is it's a solid what do we got here? 40 feet, 50 feet up over the edge.
So my intention right now is to go high up and then dive down and drop him off 15 feet up and let him jump off and to fly away because I want to make sure I don't get caught breaking concentration.
Don't fly away too quickly, Gimble.
No. I just want to stay out of range.
Jumping off very shortly after.
I can fly long distances, so I can get back and forth very easily, or pretty easily.
Okay, where are you guys putting yourselves as you come flying around? You two can situate yourselves, Valerian and Berriluss. Can you move your eagles?
I'm about to see.
Yes.
Can I?
Wait, I could for a second.
I can. Oh, nope.
Can you like just select both?
Yeah, every time I do it, like the eagle like moves back. It's weird.
I mean, how close are we getting before we roll initiative?
Good question.
Well, I'm asking you guys to give me initiative at this point.
Yeah, we're trying to get a sneak attack in. Or
Okay,
like
so I'll hang back with my eagle, like, once
they
again.
can fly 80 feet.
Oh, okay, cool, perfect.
What the fudge?
So me and my still in here.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Alan. Shit's getting wacky. Where'd you go? Do you see where your token is?
No, I have no idea where my token went.
Yeah, shit did get a little weird, huh?
Is it getting too real? Maybe.
I am just I'm too good at seeing the future. I'm already done with this fight.
I'm really excited how once again we rush in with absolutely no plan.
No, that is the plan.
That's how the scoundrels operate, man.
Yeah, we're scoundrels.
Yeah, for
That's
real.
what we do.
For real. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to change each one of these to you guys. Okay, now you should each be able to move your eagles.
Yeah.
Yay! All right, yeah. Let's hang out.
Need a new me.
I know. Let's get new you. There you go.
Yeah.
Pretend like you are looking at seals. You are on seal watching tour or something. Eh?
They
I'm
look
sure
like
they'll
respect
giant seals. Like, they look giant, right?
I thought they were people wearing bear hats for a second.
They are really big. They're all large, right? That's kind of the deal. Okay, gentlemen, what I say to you is just give it to me one more time. Okay, Gimble, you fly up above where the rock's nest is with Havoc on your back. What are you two doing? Havoc, you're jumping off?
Yes, I would like to land on rock. Whatever that will be most advantageous, if it's head, shoulders, whatever, the idea is to land on the rock.
Okie dokie. With that, I'm going to say, Havoc, you leap down off of the thing, landing on the rock. Gimble, you're over here pulling away from it. You may move yourself as you see fit. Havoc, what are you doing? You have one action, Havoc, before initiative starts.
I'm hoping to answer by clicking thing. It's
Okay,
working.
let's go right ahead. It might be asking you for a level. Sometimes it does that.
He's casting magic missile.
Yes.
Did it work?
Oh, he's cursing it.
Bestow curse. It sure did work. You touch a creature, and that creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw and become cursed for the duration. What fashion of curse are you laying upon this terrible bird?
Unless anybody has a better idea, because I'm new to the edition 5. While cursed, the target must make a wisdom saving throw at the start of each of its turns. If it fails, it wastes its action that turn and does nothing.
I like that one.
I concur, sir.
Good one.
Okay, so it now has that curse on it. You land upon the rock, focusing your energy, your bardic magic, and bestowing a terrible curse. Here we go. It's the broken guitar curse on the rock. Okay? With that, we will roll initiative right here. Click your token, Havoc. Make sure your little Havoc guy is clicked.
I think I roll for the giant eagle.
You do.
Yeah.
Correct, Amundo. For the sake of things, your other mounts are just going to be going on your turn, gentlemen, just to keep it nice and clean. Somehow we didn't get you in initiative again, Havoc, but we'll fix it.
All right.
No, it's no problem, man. No sweat.
Fuck yeah.
Wait, that was weird. It didn't enter either when I did it. How strange.
He's not allowed to be on the initiative.
No.
There he
Get a
is.
cheat code.
There he is. 6.
Oof.
Okay.
Gimble's
Okay.
Oh, Gimble's the bird. Never mind.
Mhm.
Havoc, you are standing on top of this cursed rock. You are like at its shoulder, kind of your legs like straddling one of like the wing joints, grabbing a hold of like its feathers, which are about as long as like one of your arms. This thing truly is massive. Now that you're on it, you're like, wow. It is cursed. That said, Valerian, you're up on 15. Your eagle has a speed of what, 60?
80.
Flying?
80.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I think you said 80, and
Yep.
I mean
Yep.
that just puts me right up there.
Okay, you're up there.
Cool. And then I'm going to attack it because that's what. Actually, is there like a campfire? Can I smell what the rock is cooking?
You cannot smell what the rock is cooking. The rock appears to have been done cooking. You just missed breakfast. Maybe if you guys would have timed it better.
Okay. All right. 17.
You do feel that he's very presidential, though. There might be something there as future. Okay, 17, in fact, hits as you come sailing past the rock, leaning out off the eagle. You cleave into it with your greatsword. You hit for 17 on 17. Got it. 15 points of damage.
I'm going to attack again. 14.
Ha ha ha, does not hit. As you swing out your second blow, it hits the actual bird, and you realize like it's pretty tough under there. You didn't have a great angle. Like the eagle's trying to kind of like veer away from this thing. It doesn't want to get too close, and you're just not able to find purchase on the second strike.
All right,
It
and
was not landed.
sucks. All right, so as a bonus action, I'm going to activate my cloak.
Oh, dope. And so Havoc's cloak trailing out behind him, this strange, like smooth black eelskin cloak. A lot of you have never like seen a cloak that looks quite like this before, but suddenly these blue lines begin crackling across it and all like arcing over Havoc's armor, his green sword, his green hair, are these sharp blue static snaps of electricity rolling all over him. Valerian, that's your turn. I keep mixing up Valerian and Havoc's names.
I know.
Okay. I'm really
So
gonna try. Sorry.
it was only 60 feet to get there.
Okay.
I'm gonna have the eagle let me off at that point and be like, wait 20 feet away from here for me to call for you.
Okay. So you like jump down and you're standing at like the very edge of the cliff right there, and the eagle will like pull out to over here, flying around, begin circling. That's Valerian's turn. The rock goes.
Oh boy.
Oh, Spaghetti-O. The rock leaps up, standing. First, it's going to take...
Wisdom saving throw?
He has to do
No, he didn't. Thank you. He makes a second wisdom saving throw. What's your DC? 16, right? It's high.
Does
17.
17. Got it. It
So it does
does
nothing.
not act. Let me just double check that it does nothing. It doesn't get to move either. I mean, it says it loses its action, but he still may have movement, which is very relevant. Hold on a second.
No, it says it wastes its action that turn doing nothing.
Which is its action, not its
action,
movement,
not
right?
its movement. Yeah, that's true.
All right.
It wastes its action that turn doing nothing. So where it would have attacked, it does not attack, but it does move. And so, Valerian, you can take an attack of opportunity against it.
or just write it.
Oof. A miss.
13 is a solid miss as it leaps up and begins like flying up off of the fucking cliff out this way, circling around like the magic preventing it from doing much else. Havoc, Skamos, you are up.
Well, it's now airborne. It might be hard to get my ride. Uber, do we have an app for this? So I will stay and be sort of well, yes. Do the eggs count as inanimate objects?
Oh,
I'm guessing they're pretty huge.
They are.
jeez.
They are huge. They're each of them is going to be large, and I guess sure, I'll give it to you as an
Gonna make
inanimate
a
object.
rock omelet.
Dude, no, that's the best
they
holidays of all
Hey.
time.
Point of note: if you cast animate objects, you will lose concentration on Bestow Curse. Bestow Curse is a concentration spell, and you're holding concentration on it right now, right?
Oh,
Yeah, not worth it.
solid point. Okay.
Right? I'm double checking here. Yes, it is. Yes, up to 1 minute.
Thank you for knowing the rules. I'm still learning.
No, it's no problem, man. It's all learning curve, you know?
All right. Well, then I'll hold off. I'll go back to my initial plan, which is just to be a stabby presence on it.
Excellent. Stabby presence is a good start.
I pushed the wrong thing. Sorry.
It's okay. Don't sweat it, man.
Oof.
Oh,
Like a good
no.
roll.
Oh, no,
Oh,
Havoc.
no.
On a critical one, the wielder must make a wisdom saving throw, DC 14, or lose control of the prismatic spray. You drive your sword down into the back of this thing, and suddenly, at the base, at the pommel of the sword, just underneath your hand, this disc of scintillating colors, this rainbow spinning pinwheel, appears and begins coalescing, and you can feel the power of the sword. You felt it before, but you're like, "Whoa!" So, DC 14.
But wait,
wisdom
it's an
save.
11, not an 8, because I said so.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy. And so you have a vision, Havoc, of like the sword erupting and blasting you in the face with the prismatic spray as you plummet to your death on the stone below. But that doesn't happen at all. Suddenly, like, the blow is just like deflected, and you're not able to like get good purchase burying it into the thing. But fortunately for you, the magic does not roll out of your control. So that's your action. You have a bonus action for your second attack.
Dagger?
Dagger indeed. You jab down into it with a dagger. Oh boy, with a 12, and you like thunk, it's like hitting a rock, literally. You are not able to like push this dagger down through its like tough back. With that, I presume you are not going to move.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be disadvantageous.
Okay. And so Gimble, the giant eagle, you're up on 5.
So can another giant eagle understand me if I'm a giant eagle? Like, can I issue, since I'm an eagle, can I send a command with the eagle language?
Yeah, you have
to another
animal
eagle?
summoning on. It's not about, in other words, like I may bust your balls if it were just a wild giant eagle. Probably you couldn't communicate with it, but it's yours. You summoned it. You can issue it commands. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to use my action to
Mhm.
issue a command to Valerian's eagle to fly over and get Havoc.
What? We'll be like, no, don't do that.
It's not going to go until Valerian's turn
That's fine.
because I like put them on his initiative order.
That's
Okay,
okay.
but okay,
That's
you
okay.
got it. It's no longer obeying Valerian. Okay,
And
so
then-
that's your action, and then
I am going to go hang out near Valerian, and I'm going to go with my action, my movement, and sit down next to Valerian.
okay, Berriluss Cosmis, you're up on 5.
I'm gonna cast Mouse Minute Meteors.
Oh baby,
What? What the hell? I got one high and one low. I'm throwing 2 of them, but I get 6. So I have 4 left.
Okay, you throw 6 G's. That was not awesome rolls.
No.
What does it get? DC 16 deck save. Okay.
Whoa!
And it fails
Whoa.
badly.
Yeah.
So yeah, these like steaming hot rocks, these tiny meteors begin surrounding Berriluss, and he fires 2 of them off You create 6 tiny meteors into your space. They float in the air and orbit around you for the spell's duration. You cast them as a bonus action. And blah, blah, blah. 2 of the meteors, 120 feet. I'm just checking. 2d6 on the failed save. Okay, cool. Got it. That's pretty sad. He doesn't take a lot of damage, but he does take 7 points of damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. One of these is wrong. Why does it only have 1d6 for the first one?
No, that's 1 for each meteor.
Right, but so the
second. No, so it's just the 6. It's not 7. It's 6 because the second one is if I fire 2.
Got it. The meteor strikes it, searing through its feathers, scorching the thing underneath. 15, Valerian, you're up. How's this going to work?
Well, so now I can't take my eagle and fly to the rock and attack it. How high am I compared to the Varrock?
The Varrock's even with you, I'm going to say. It has not, ascended particularly high. Maybe it's, 10 feet higher than you, right? But it's pretty even with you from where it is.
Could I try and jump off the cliff 10 feet in the air and misty step onto the Varrock?
Oh, sure, you can try. You can try anything, dude. Do it. Athletics check.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it.
You take a couple of steps back. You're not a dumb fuck. You just misunderstand.
Oh my god!
Oh! Valerian comes charging. Gimble, you've stopped and are waiting for him to get on your back, and you see him pull back away, here we go. And he just trips on the fucking Vrock's nest, hooks his foot up on a root, and proceeds to plummet over the edge of the fucking cliff, falling 35, 40 feet down to here.
I can't misty step in once I fuck it up and just try and cement a landing?
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. Roll, yeah, whatever, I'll give it to you. Sure, you can misty step. It's just verbal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So as you're plummeting down the cliff, about to take 4d6 damage from falling, you misty step. Where are you going?
I mean, just onto the. I just want to lessen the fall damage as much as possible. That was kind of my idea.
You fall 10 feet down, you misty step right down to the ground and are now standing on this ledge underneath you motherfucker. And that's pretty much it, right? The critical one burned.
Yeah, that's everything.
Rock goes. It makes a wisdom saving throw.
Miss. Yes!
Oh. Hey.
We're all rolling lots of critical ones right now. This is nuts.
It's just round, getting ready to come back. Havoc, you're up on 6.
Okay.
Wait, you never had okay. The eagle should have run to where Havoc was before. Valerian's eagle should be over there. Yeah.
Eagle comes flying over and is circling around next to you, Havoc. Are you going to try to get onto it?
Would that be a movement or an action?
Okay, this is where we get really technical. So it takes half your movement to mount a mount, but you are clinging to the back of a flying Varrock in midair, trying to mount a flying giant eagle. So I'm going to say that's an action that will take your action to dismount this thing and get on. Tough call.
It's hard.
Oh.
I mean, he's there when you need him. He's going to be following you around. So if you just sit there on the rock and just keep swinging away until he fails a wisdom check, you'll, you're in the best position to do harm to this thing right now.
Okay. Here, in that case, what I want to do is a fireball centered just ahead of the direction of the rock and just low enough where it won't hit me directly. And
this thing is massive. Yeah, you can aim a fireball that's not going to hit you but will hit the rock. That's no problem.
okay.
Yeah, I just threw 2 of them at you.
Nice. Let's do this. Roll a critical. 20, not a 1. 20.
Work?
Oh, what are we doing here?
He's asking for a level.
Sometimes under your sheet, Gabe, it'll be like, oh, what level do you want to cast this at?
I thought I had selected. Let me try again.
Might just be laggy too.
It might just be laggy, yeah.
All right, let me try it over here. It's all right.
Oops, sorry, brother.
The most dramatic fireball in history. There we go.
Oh.
Dex save DC 17 for half. Okay, so you cast at a higher level. It makes a dexterity saving throw. And it fails it badly.
40 points, yes.
This fireball fucking rips out and explodes in the air between you and your eagle. Your eagle, Berriluss, is like squealing and like pulling away from the heat as the fire like rolls onto the whole underside of this rock, scorching feathers. Okay, cool, Havoc. That's your action. You have a bonus action and movement.
Can I rapier him, or does it have to be the dagger?
Nope, you can't do either of those things technically because you
spell.
use your action to cast a spell. Yep. Like you could throw out Bardic Inspiration, or if you have another spell that's a bonus action or anything like that. Otherwise,
You know what? Who's in front of me? Valerian?
Berriluss.
Berriluss is in front of me. I'd be like, Berriluss, you the man! Bardic.
Thank you.
So you now have
So
an extra,
inspiring.
D6 of Bardic Inspiration, Berriluss, if you need it. With that, Havoc, Skamos, your turn is up. Giant Eagle, you go on 5.
So can I use an action to pick up Valerian and use a bonus action to drop him?
What's the
What?
strength? This giant eagle.
Are you trying to like pick me up and drop me?
19. Yeah, I want to pick you up, fly you over, and drop you on the rock.
Oh, okay. I thought you were literally gonna pick me up and drop me.
150 feet.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Sure.
Okay.
You're like strong enough to
Yeah.
pick him up, pretty much.
So basically, I'm gonna pick him up on the shoulders, lift him, and then fly him over and drop him on the rock. And I guess we're kind of all in its path now. But yeah, we're all over there.
Hey, Valerian, throw out an athletics check as the eagle like drops you down at the rock. It's pretty easy to like grab hold of this thing, but
All right, 15.
yeah, cool. You like hit it and start like slipping and sliding off the edge, but you grab like a handful of the feathers and like wrench yourself around one of the wings next to Havoc on its back. You're situated. Okay, that's your turn, Gimble. You can move out of range.
I can't.
You know?
No, I don't have any more flight distance, so I'll just
then you're
stay
cool.
right there for now.
So technically, just to keep everything parsed for you guys, so you appreciate where I'm coming from, it still has its reactions, right?
Yep.
It loses its action when it fails this wisdom saving throw. It does still have reactions. Valerian, you're up on 15.
Wait, what about me?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Berriluss.
I'm sorry. I jumped right over you, Berriluss.
Oof. Oof.
What a
Alright.
bullshit.
I'm going over here.
I don't know if you've
Mhm.
heard, but he's the man.
Yeah,
Yes,
did
that's
you
what I
not
heard.
hear that I am the man? I'm going over here, and I'm gonna lightning bolt it.
Excellent. Lightning erupts.
Yeah, just a regular old lightning bolt. I've noticed it's not very dexterous.
It is not. Good noticing. How perceptive of you. It weighs 8 tons. Yeah, it's not very. The lightning bolt cracks off of your hand. This gleaming yellow-white streak of lightning. The smell of ozone stinking the air. Your eagle like recoils a little bit as it launches off of you, and yeah, it just shatters into this bastard. Boom. Okay, that's your action.
And yeah, no, that's everything.
Is
We're
there
good.
friendly fire on the lightning bolt or no?
This thing is fucking massive. He can like aim it downwards,
Okay.
right? Get a piece of
Great.
the bird without hitting those guys.
That's
So
awesome.
good shape. Valerian, you're up.
All right, it's time to fucking start swinging finally. 17 hits, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna divine smite.
I was waiting for it. Yes, you are. Yeah. Expect nothing less. 14 plus 10, 24. It does not have extra heads to cut off, but
if it did,
your green gleaming sword, the eldritch energy just arcing off of it. This radiant blast. Your second attack?
Oof, 28.
It's
Yes.
for 15. Excellent.
Nice.
We don't have flanking hanging out on this thing's back.
Not really. Nope, the two of you guys like perched up on its back, chopping away. So you cleave down into it, Valerian. Feathers like kicking up off of it after the first one. The second attack landing hard. There's blood now, like dripping down underneath its feathers. These huge kind of dots of blood. The sea lions at this point are like, they're all like scattering, freaking out, diving into the ocean as all this commotion is happening beneath them. That's Valerian's turn. The rock goes on.
I still have bonus action.
Sorry, go for it.
Gonna release the eelskin cloak on it.
Yeah.
Excellent. With the blast off your melee, the electricity surges through the eelskin cloak, bursting down through the sword and searing it for an extra 13. Excellent. Very cool. The rock goes. He is not cooking. Okay, wisdom save. He will fail. Yep, he does. At this point, he flies over here and he begins ascending. He's got 120-foot move speed, by the way. He's not even been like using it a little bit of it each round. He's just kind of like circling around trying to get purchase. But so he gains height, right? He begins sailing upward. Valerian's eagle like trailing up after as it goes. And once it gains about another 40 feet worth of height, it rotates upside down. Can I have athletics checks from both of you guys?
While they're doing that, do I get an opportunity attack?
Sure.
Do you get them as
Nailed
eagles?
it.
Oh,
Double crit, bro.
Nice.
that's enough crit for everyone.
That hits. Okay, got ya. Okay, you guys are hanging upside down now to it as it is rotated, is like flying fully upside down, and the two of you are literally like holding on to feathers, and only because like the feathers are so massive and the stalks going into them like this, do you guys like have any kind of purchase left at all? But you're both like dangling, your feet dangling underneath you, Valerian with your sword in like one hand, like, oh fuck, you've got like a really good hold on it. You've actually got a handful of skin, but both of you dangle upside down underneath it. Havoc, Skamos, on 6, you go as you dangle underneath the upside down rock.
Is my eagle below me?
It's around you, yes. It's like close enough that you can try to mount it, to be sure, yes.
Okay, and that, my understanding is that's its job is to be my mount, yeah?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's mount it.
Okay, I'm going to be real gentle with you here. So I'm just going to let you use your action to mount it without any crazy rolls. You like let go, dropping off the thing, aiming yourself down at the eagle like, oh, fuck, leap of faith. And the eagle like underneath you like, woof, you hit it pretty hard. And you may need to sit on some ice with that hollandaise sauce when you get back to the boat. But you are now mounted on your eagle again. Now, technically, the last thing Gimble told it to do was like to fly over here. So he's got to like kind of tell it to reorder you. But yeah, okay, so you can drive it. Where do you want to go?
Actually, I don't necessarily need to go anywhere. If I have a bonus action, I'll shoot my crossbow at the rock.
This is one of these weird things where because you didn't take the attack action, you don't get to have like a bonus attack. Does that make sense? So you use your action to do that. You still have a bonus action if you had a spell or bardic inspiration on somebody else or something like that. Otherwise, you're mounted.
So that's Valerian now here. He hasn't gotten bardic inspiration yet, right?
True.
All right. Valerian, you're a beautiful big badass.
You hear him yelling from underneath you, Valerian, as you like look down, like clinging to the fucking rock, and he's like shouting up at you. You now have bardic inspiration as well, my friend.
Nice.
Giant Eagle, you're up on 5.
Giant Eagle. Oh.
Yeah, that's you.
Okay, so now I will use my action to order it, like officially to be. I'll use my action to order it to be his mount. Yeah, I'm still here because I took my opportunity attack.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got them mixed up.
No,
okay, got it.
So now he's officially his mount on his turn, but Valerian doesn't have a mount anymore. So that would be me. So that's my action, right? To tell it to do that. So I will. I can't pick Valerian up. But I'll fly right up next to Valerian and I used my action already. And just like cling on to the rock right next to him. I'm not trying to do any damage or anything. I'm just trying to attach myself to the rock now so that if it flies away, I don't get my attack of opportunity and I stay on the rock.
Make an athletics check. That's all.
Okay, cool.
With the eagle, right?
With the eagle.
Yeah.
Athletics.
It's probably way better than the gnome's athletics.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm not sure exactly where to do this.
Oh, if it doesn't have athletics, it's just a straight strength roll, John.
Oh, great.
Okay, you cling on to it. You didn't need much, right? It's fucking massive. But so you fly up next to it, like reaching out with your claws and grabbing a hold of its tufts of feathers, pulling your wings in tight. And it's really like rough, man. I mean, this thing's moving fast, but you're hanging on to it. You are there with Valerian and with it. Berriluss, Cosmis, you're up on 5. You still have inspiration.
What can I use the inspiration on?
Anything where you roll, basically an attack roll or saving throw, right? Okay. You can add it to.
I'm going to go for a big lightning bolt.
Okie dokie. As Valerian hangs underneath and the eagle like clings up next to it, Havoc on his eagle to the side.
Oh, what the hell?
With a terrible roll. Many, many ones have
Only
been rolled.
Ones.
What a load of shit. Okay. 15, it does not make its saving throw. It takes 27 points of damage.
I'm kind of like just chasing it up,
Got it. Yeah, you're just like following it up as it goes into the air. Okay, that's your action. You have a bonus action or anything special?
No specials.
Okay, Valerian, you're up on 15.
All right, so can I'd use my action to get on to Gimble?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stow your sword and grab onto the eagle that's clinging to the side and pull yourself over, like wrapping your legs around it and like getting a hold of them. Yeah, you're mounted on Gimble now.
Cool. That's my turn.
Okay, the rock goes.
Yes.
Does not do shit, but it is now thrashing. He's on you. Roll an athletics check, Gimble, to hold on to it while it starts to try to pull away.
12 again.
12. So this one's a little freaking. Where am I? Yeah, here I am. Yeah, 12. You're pulled off of it as it like flies away and it circles itself back around up to here. It's still in the air, but it's like rattled you guys off of it for now, for this moment. Havoc.
Do I get an attack of opportunity?
Sure. Hits.
I'm gonna divine smite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smite that divinely.
Hit that bird real hard.
I'll take it.
12 and 8 is 20 points of damage altogether as you cleave into the thing and it takes off like flying away. Okay, cool. Havoc, you're up.
Do I also get this opportunity of attack, maybe?
Yeah, sure. You were right next to it. You were within range, absolutely.
All right, I will give for it to be a balls of fire.
So, You have to use a
I got
weapon.
wrong again, didn't I?
No, it's okay.
You can use your
These are
rapier
all
this
like
time, though.
technicalities. You can use your rapier, right? An attack of opportunity is this idea that you have your weapon out and they move. If you have certain feats, you're allowed to use a spell there, but you don't have that feat, right? So you can make a weapon attack against them. You could use your hand crossbow, or technically you can only use your sword. It's a melee attack. I'm sorry.
All right, I will rapier him.
Excellent. Here's all the miniature D&D rules. Sorry. 20!
Yes!
You
Dude, that
have
was
it.
amazing.
Punch out with the rapier, and the rest of you now see as he's like in the air and this rock is pulling away around the pommel at the base of his hand. Again, the scintillating disc of color begins just like vibrating and spinning like a pinwheel, like a kaleidoscope. And as the rays of color begin to like get bigger and bigger, they kind of like collapse in, running down the length of the blade at it. So, Havoc, a prismatic spray unleashes upon this crapo friggin' rock. What does prismatic spray do, you ask?
I gotta roll something, I have the feeling.
You sure do. So what we're
It's
gonna
a
do,
fun
you're
spell.
gonna roll an 8-sided.
Okay. Do it.
And he can roll damage on the rapier, too. He's got all sorts of shit to roll.
Yeah, this is gonna be nightmarishly bad. Okay, 3. First roll damage on the rapier.
Okay. Is that over here?
It's in the chat. Yes.
Oh.
So 7 points of damage just from the sword stab as you punch out into this thing. But as the rays begin to collapse and this like shifting prism of light fires down, you see that the beam which streaks off the end of your blade is yellow. And so you, sir, may roll 10d6 lightning damage. You like that, huh? You guys are so lucky. Your whole combination of like having a diviner that can stop him from doing that to himself. Imagine he did that to himself in the first round, right? It's a whole different fight, dude. That bestow curse drops. He falls 100 feet. 34 points. 34 points of lightning damage. And with that, Havoc, this like surging blast of electricity rips off your sword as you stab into it, and the rock screams a deafening cry. All of you literally are deafened as it like this horrible rending shriek, and its wings just kind of lose power underneath it as it spirals. It's trying to right itself, right? It was still upside down. It's trying to pull itself right, flying back towards its eggs because that's all it cares about. And it falls, taken low by its own weight and by the blade of Havoc Skamos, and crashes, shattering into this mountainside, where it then rolls down the entire thing, smashing into a broken, bloodied heap on the beach.
Nice.
Nicely done.
Huzzah!
Good
Oh.
job, team.
Yeah, look, we're all three.
Who
of us
needs
are
a plan?
still on our birds. That worked.
Not the scoundrels, I tell you that. Convenient location also for barbecue, hollandaise sauce, harvest.
Another barbecue.
Giant omelets.
Meat sandwiches.
I'll drop Valerian off at the bird, and then I'm gonna fly up to the nest and start looking for goodies.
Yeah, I'm flying over to the nest too because I want to check out these eggs. Eggs.
Yeah, seeing them going, realizing that this is also a good idea for the collecting treasures and maybe eggs, if Giant Eagle is capable, and bring them over to docks.
Oh yeah, can the giant eagles lift the eggs?
No, definitely not.
Oh.
Absolutely
What about
not.
three
The
on
eagles
one-
have like
three on each
stabby. Nah, the eagles have stabby claw feet with no thumbs, and the eggs are like these big round things. Like this is a gimbal job. You're gonna need some kind of real fucking operation to get these things down to the docks without breaking them.
Would
right?
an earth elemental be able to carry the eggs? Would I
Yeah.
have an idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll jump out of my wild shape.
Okay.
I will start the 10-minute process or 1-minute process. I'll start the process of summoning an elemental, unearth elemental.
And can I examine these eggs for whatever knowledge I might have of their value, either inside, outside, whole, alive, dead, etc.?
Make a history check, Havoc. And Gimble and Berriluss, you guys can roll investigation. You're like searching the nest. Honestly, dude, you know that there's a market for them. You've never seen these things bought or sold before. You figure they're probably worth a fucking fortune.
Use your inspiration, Berriluss.
Oh yeah. Well, I still have
Inspiration.
It's just a D6, yeah.
Moves me brightly.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to set it.
It is still a critical one. So
Yeah. So that was my question, Rich. Are we playing it where critical?
Listen, it's my game. Critical ones are fucking fails. I don't give a fuck. Attack roll what they say in these stupid 5th edition books. If you roll 1, it's bad. It's very bad. That's it. Conversely, 20s are very good. It's very good. You roll 20. So, Gimble, you start like scoping this shit out. Berriluss, you're looking, and you're just kind of overwhelmed by the immensity of these eggs. You see the refuse of like human beings. You see these like bones of some massive chewed up creature over here. This looks like the mast of a ship. This is a rowboat. It's up here with the stuff. Gimble, you pretty quickly are able to spot this chest with gold, and silver, which seems to have poured out of the rowboat, but also you find over here on the other side, hidden tucked down into the woven fronds of the nest itself, a satchel, a pouch. And as you like catch eye of it, you're like, oh, that looks like a pouch that I would see on the belt of a magic user. And so you dig it out and you find inside of it 3 metal flasks.
I'll pocket that for the time being. And how much gold do I? Well, I'm gonna just point at. I'm gonna point Berriluss to the gold and be like, "Hey man, check out the gold," because I know he failed his investigation. Like count it, and while he's counting, then I'm gonna spend my time to summon.
Oh yeah, I begin counting money.
Or estimate, gather it up. And then I'll summon my elemental to start trekking the eggs down to the docks.
Okay, so you
actually not to the docks. I want to aim for this rowboat away from the giant seals that we saw, unless they already got scared off. But I'll put them right there for now. The eggs.
Yep, no problem. You have the elemental conjured, and it begins lowering the eggs. And as the eggs are moved, you guys reveal more and more kind of gold that's fallen to the bottom of this thing. You find a couple of suits of armor, some broken weaponry, cracked spears, a few like rusted pitted swords. But you've got a pretty good feeling that, the only real significant magic you pulled out of this haul is these vials in this pouch, right? There's a few burnt, torn up books that are all wet and battered and wrecked from weather, and this like stash of gold and some random weapons and equipment. But really, the real score here are the eggs and the rock itself. And
Valerian, you want to start finding the valuable parts of that bird and tearing them off and shit?
I'm already doing that, bro.
Sweet.
Can I use perception or investigation just to be totally assured that we're not leaving anything behind, maybe by like a fallen fighter or something like that in that whole area?
Sure, to make an investigation roll. 27. Havoc. as you start like really carefully, Gimble is guiding his elemental, which is like carrying these eggs that are even like big compared to it down towards the coast. And it's able to do it pretty easily because it can earth glide. So it's literally like going right down the front of the cliff with these eggs in its arms gently. And you begin like kicking around and you're rolling over some of the bodies, and you have an eye for carnage. Your name is Havoc after all. And so you roll like one of these like skeletal corpses over what looks like a fighter, and you see that like jutting out from under the nest is like the bone of like the fibia and tibia, and you realize like the arm must be jammed down in, and just as an instinct you kind of go down and pull the branches apart, and sure enough there on the skeletal hand buried into this nest itself is a heavy brass ring on the finger.
I'm going to be carefully, if I have a bit of cloth or leather or something, I'll grab it and take it and pocket it.
Hell of a clever guy. So you pull your little Palantir maneuver, and you throw the cloth over it and slip the ring off of the skeletal hand. And Valerian, as you stand,
literally just got the brass ring. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's hilarious. It is pretty hilarious. And so with that, as the day wanes on and the afternoon sun grows long in the sky, the rain thin and drizzling down, Valerian with his massive sword has begun the portioning up of this rock, and Gimble guides the elemental to lower the eggs one by one down to the beach. And so I think that's where we will leave ourselves tonight, is you guys kind of returning back to the ship with your spoils and reuniting with your ally Gheddar the Bronze Tidewalker, and you can send your message to Sendak and reconnect with the White Bear tribe of the Bree and see what they might have to teach you, Gimble, about the ways of the druids in this part of the world, and further get some information on this battle that they're facing with these Quato, these fish creatures coming up out of the ocean.
Yeah, awesome. The war.
That's awesome. So, also just point of order, if there's any like broken weapons and stuff, like make sure we grab them, because I have mending, so I can kind of like, we can give those to our pirate friends and shit.
Okay, so the suggestion is you guys are emptying this thing of every last like vaguely valuable thing, and you can use like an animal messenger spell or whatever way you do to reconnect with the guys in the ship and tell them to send a rowboat out here, and they will come and meet you and begin the process of loading all this shit onto your ship.
Awesome.
Excellent, gentlemen. That was pretty formidable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rest. Get my spells back. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all need a rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
I can't believe no one plummeted to their death during that fight. That was
it was well managed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of synergy happening, like the diviner with a lot of these other things, him being able to like come in and fix rolls, and like all the bonus action Misty Step was like a huge save. Valerian was about to get fucking mauled right there. But yeah, Berriluss big time saved Havoc, because if that prismatic spray went off on him, not only would he have taken 10d whatever points of damage, he would have probably failed concentration, and now like, the enemy would have made an attack roll during that fight, and things might have played differently. But that was a hell of a way to go through 6 rounds of combat with an enemy that was not allowed to attack. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you again, Xanatos, for the 500 bits. It's awesome. We'll continue
Xanatos,
killing.
you're my champion. You're a hero. I love you, brother.
Yeah, likewise.
Sandwiches for these Xanatos.
Plenty of sandwiches.
Someday we will eat
deserve
sandwiches.
Hollandaise and vodka for him.
And I saw we grabbed a sub somewhere earlier, but I missed the name. And I just want to thank all you guys who are here with us live. That's fantastic of you. Obviously, we want to thank Andrea, who does all our custom art, but I'll just say Antonio J. Manzanato did the art for the rock that I used tonight, and Alisher Mirzev with our background art.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll be back next week with the campaign episode 8. And stay tuned. In the coming weeks, we'll be launching a new game, magical game. And yeah, so stay tuned for all that stuff. And yeah, I guess we'll sign off for the evening. And throughout the week, we'll be running reruns of the archive. And if you want to watch from the very beginning, you'll have to head over to YouTube. You can use all the links in the channel feed to do all of that stuff. So
and feel free.
We'll see you next
Come
week.
hunt us down on Twitter and hit us up, you guys. If you like what you see, just, give us a nudge. We're all out there. But we'll see you next week indeed.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.